And welcome back to ScavTalk, everyone. Today's episode, we got a packed full of tons of various topics. Kind of figuring out still if armor is a bug or feature. We'll talk about that more later, but we're kind of going to be scattered all over the place because there's just so much going on. Lots of gaming happening. I know for sure on Giga's end, absolutely on my end. And yeah, it's just a lot. It's a lot. So that's the episode.
Mm-hmm. Where you at? What level you at?
Let me double check, but I should be 32 still. Yeah, 32.
So I've just squeaked into level 30 by the skin of my teeth. I basically ran out of time. I was just talking to Church about this beforehand, actually, but yeah, I stayed up slightly later because what I've been doing. I've been trying to do the Vitality thing because it's just a pain. We'll talk about it, but I ended up with 2,000 XP left before I could get level 30. So I just chilled on factory for 10 minutes and just sat in the little S bend underground and waited, and then ran around and killed 5 different scavs, looted a bunch of stuff. Came out of the raid. I had 200 XP remaining. I needed 2,400 and I got 2,200 in the raid. I was like, damn it, I still need 200 XP. So I was like, well, I guess I'm going to go and identify some items, I suppose.
Mm-hmm.
So I just went around on the flea, was just where am I going to find items I can identify these days? Because most of them are gone. So you go into the keys section, and I went to identify all the labs cards because all the keys are still, unidentified. And it turns out labs keys, I don't know whether this used to be the case, but now if you identify any of the colored labs keys, they give you 100 XP each.
Oh.
So you can get 700, 800 XP simply from identifying red, green, blue, yellow, black, violet.
That's neat.
It's kind of interesting. So I was just oh, there we go. I only had to do 5 or no, 3 even. I just identified them all, but I was like, oh, I only had to identify 3 of them, and there we are, level 30. Because until level 30, everything opens out after level 30. You can get the workbench up to level 3. You can get the generator up to level 3. With Vitality as well, which I was doing, then you get Med Station 3. So I was just unlocking everything. So I feel like the game fully, kind of almost fully unlocks at level 30. Not quite, but it's yeah, just seems to be that way. So I've been sort of extending my PlayStation a little bit. Too late to try and get it done. But overall, it's been a good time. I'm really enjoying this wipe. Actually, it's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
But it's just the game is in a weird spot. I don't know whether it's still honeymoon period or whatever, but there's lots of stuff that feels just kind of interesting. Just the vibe of the whole game is pretty cool. It's pretty cool. It's just kind of some stuff we talked about last week. Buy the mid-tier ammos off the flea feels like the old days, and but then finding the ammo in raid, knowing that the high pen stuff's not there. No one could really use 55A1, and 560A1 is Peacekeeper 4, so your class 4 still works, but the high tier stuff is purchasable off the traders, but not the ammo. So it's I don't know. It's kind of neat. It's kind of neat.
Yeah, it was interesting because I was kind of musing about different. One thing I'm doing is every time I die, I'll just try to use a new gun of a completely different class and caliber. Just just it's the time that it's actually something to do. It's worth doing, because the guns feel good again. So, but one thing,
you want to kind of figure it out, right?
Yeah. There's that too for sure. But what I think I was trying into, or I was musing about, was kind of how 556. It's and this is probably true for a lot of calibers, but it's M855 is kind of the base once you get Peacekeeper 3, which is kind of weird, and then you can craft / buy the, oh god, what is it? Is it the SOT or is that the other one?
Yeah, Mark 318.
Okay, yeah,
SOST.
Still can't remember the difference between the two. I looted a box of ammo and I was like, oh, is this the good one? It's no, it was RRLP.
RRLP, the other one, yeah.
It's no.
The rubbish one.
Yeah. But yeah, it's and then yeah, I mean, and then that one's only what, 33 pen, is it? Which is I mean, I don't know, it's kind of weird. And then it's oh, well, you can just buy because I got Prepper 3, I could buy the newer, I gotta find the name of the ammo for the what is that gun called? SR2 9x21.
Yeah, can you buy the ones The one that's one step down. I can never remember what those ones are called.
7U4 is the
Oh,
newer
one of
one.
the actual new bullets.
Yes.
7U4. Okay, yeah, I've not even looked at that really. I had to go and look on the charts. That's what, 47 damage, 27 pen.
Yeah. And it's like, that's not that far off of, M855, for example. And then like the P90, the L191, I didn't realize that. I thought that was a flesh round, but did they? I don't know if they changed it, but apparently it has like 32 or 33 pen or something.
Yeah, I feel like I can't remember whether that one got buffed ever or whether everything's just shifted around it. I actually can't quite remember. I feel
Yeah,
like maybe it did get a little buff, like maybe in a while back, but I don't think it definitely didn't change this wipe to the previous wipe. I don't think it's had 33 pen for a long while I think it's because like SS190 was always 37 pen, and then SB193 was 35 pen, and then this thing was 33 pen. So like there was no point ever using it L191.
yeah.
But
That
now
checks
that
out.
everything's been shifted, it's like you say, it's weird that M855 has gone from the base to being kind of like, oh, this is actually like the base of being good.
Right.
It's kind of like that's sort of like M855 feels like how 56A1 used to feel. I think 56A1 used to be like the baseline for PvP, and M855 was like passable if you're starting with 556 and you're level 1.
Sure.
Whereas now it's like 855 is now like this feels good for PvP. Um, Yeah, no, it's an interesting one. Like I have used the P90 bit actually, and maybe we'll talk about like other guns a little bit later. But yeah, I've been like going through quite a few. Like if I look through my list, it's like of like the raids I played. It's like I did get stuck on setup for a bit, but just like G36, AK74U, Scar L, Scar H, SA58, MDR, AK12, M4, AUG, and then MP153 and 155 actually. So like yeah, I've had like quite a high variety as well. Like a lot of 556 and stuff because I've been wanting to use this new like SOST bullet as you were saying.
Yeah.
Because you can craft like you were just asking me beforehand. You can craft PP for 545 at
Mm-hmm.
workbench 3. Actually, is it workbench 3?
Yeah,
I
but
wonder if does it say? Because we were saying it's locked behind Prapple's like Punisher Part 3, right?
right, but it is also Workbench 3 as well. Well, according to the wiki, who
Okay,
and it's
but
only
so whereas
6 hours as well.
whereas SOST is workbench 2,
Yes.
which is quite cool. So you get SOST before, like technically before M855,
Mm-hmm.
but it's much more limited, obviously,
Mm-hmm.
which is kind of okay. It's a little bit like how you used to get M995 before 855A1, because you could craft M995 at
Yeah.
level 30, but 55A1 only came at level 37 from Peacekeeper. But obviously, you could buy loads of M855, but M995, you couldn't buy that much of it. I mean, I remember, like, I think last wipe I ended up, there was that weird, like, sort of intervening period where I had like 995 over the top of 56A1, and I was like, this is weird. It's like really odd. Because I couldn't buy 55A1, but I was like, well, I can craft M905, and I'll just like craft one every night. And then I'll put like 10 bullets of it over the top of 56A1, which is just really strange. So yeah, it's definitely an odd one. Like the ammo thing's like super weird. Somebody clued me into, because we've been like running dorms and customs and setup and all sorts of stuff. And so I
Mm-hmm.
was like asking chat again about like, oh, which keys do I need for dorms? Because I always forget. I can't remember what any of the names of the rooms are because I just hit them solo, so I'd never need the call outs. So I look up the list once a wipe and then like buy the keys, and then they're in my container or in my
Yeah.
my docs case, and it's just like, oh, these are the dorms keys as like a
Right.
collective.
Time with
I mean,
Shoreline.
yeah, so it's typically like yes, 114, 110, 105 for 2-story, and 104. Someone convinced me to buy it because it's got like a toolbox and some jackets, whatever. So I did. I was like, may as well. And then, so those first three are the safe rooms. They're 114, 110 are the two at the end. If you go downstairs into the first floor or the ground floor, they're like the two at the end of the
Mm-hmm.
row, and there's like one on the right, one on the left. And I think 114 is really expensive because it's like quest key. Yeah, it's like 300k, 350k on the fleet. I got really lucky and actually found 114. It's like the only good key that I found this wipe, and so I didn't have to pay for that. So I only bought 11 or 110, which is the one opposite it. But there's two safes down there, and then there's 105, which is like that weird annex that you can't get into. You have to go round to the outside section to then go into just that tiny little bit at the end.
Mm-hmm.
So I got that one and 104 as well. And then in the other one, you've got actually, to be fair, you've got guard desk too. That somebody said go and get door.
Yeah.
And I've never used that one. I've never bought that key. I've never used it. And someone was like, go and
Really.
buy the dorm's guard desk key because this wipe it's really important because there's
Mm-hmm.
like 3 grenade/ammo cases in there. And I was like, all right. and I think I went in. I've been in twice, and so far I've had like M62, a full stack of P90, like SS190. I've had like 50 rounds of BP for
Yeah.
762. I was just like, holy crap, this is like actually really useful, this wipe, especially because of the whole ammo situation. So, I was just like browsing through and I've just been collecting stuff as the wipe's gone on. I think I've got like nearly 100 rounds of BP just randomly from just doing stuff that, I'd start to think about using, like maybe not, right? Maybe now, maybe I'd start to top load a BP and like at this point, maybe it'd be valuable. I don't really know. So yeah, it's been kind of interesting with the ammo situation.
Yeah.
Don't know how it's going to go kind of from here, but I guess yeah, we'll just carry on and you get 5, 6. But yeah, like anyway, what we were talking about the P90 and like yeah, L191 like feels pretty good, I would say, because and it's like all of the and again, it's the reason why 855 also is okay because all of these ammos that have 30 pen plus, and you just spray at somebody, and especially with high RPM, so high RPM, low recoil, and 30 pen. It's kind of this almost like this own special sweet spot because like nobody can have class 3 soft armor if you've got replaceable plates above class 3. So anytime you don't hit the plate, you just pen every time, and they die. And the P90 feels great for it because it's 900 RPM, like tiny. Like the recoil was good before, and now it's like just unbelievably low, and so it feels like insane to shoot. Like every gun feels insane to shoot right now, but the P90 is like especially crazy. And yeah, it's nutty. It's nutty. So I've enjoyed that a lot. I haven't tried too many of the other SMGs yet, and I think it was partly just because I couldn't buy them. Like, to be honest, people keep telling me about the MP9 as well, and being like, yeah, you can buy because you could buy AP 6.3 from Peacekeeper. It's a game changer for that too, because that's 30 pen. If I just quickly go to the thing, yes, it's like 52 damage and 30 pence. That's like also good. And the MP9 is like really low recoil as well. So I think, yeah, there's a lot of these weapons that you can hit that sort of sweet spot. There's like an SMG sweet. There's like flesh damage sweet spot. That's fine. Just shotguns and stuff. The old stuff that worked for leg meta. Even though I'm a bit like grumbly about leg meta. And then you've got this like SMG meta, which is like super fast fire rate because you need to not hit the blade, but you just hit a headshot or you hit any of the class 2/3 soft armor and then they die. Or you go for the high pen stuff, which is just the old traditional, shoot through center of mass. If you hit a 3, it goes through. If you hit the 5 plate, it goes through. Cough, cough. We'll talk about that in a bit. So it's like, yeah, it's interesting. It's really interesting.
Yeah, and the one, I mean, yeah, this, like I said, this is kind of my dream wipe in terms of like ammo scarcity. Because as you said, the guard desk key is like super good. One key that it came to mind when you were talking about that was the checkpoint key, also in customs, which is like, I think maybe like 5 times I've unlocked that, and like had it with me to do that in my whole time playing Tarkov. But I think there's an ammo crate in there.
Yeah, like one of those wooden box, like little box type, like grenade ammo type things as well. Yeah, you're right.
For those that don't know, it's like kind of like across CSEC where the scavs spawn, like sniper scav. It's a little like checkpoint area essentially.
Yeah.
It's like I think it opens the bottom floor. I can't remember.
Yes.
I think you have to approach it from a specific side, if I recall.
You have to approach it from the side with the vehicle. I think are there 2 doors?
I think there is. I think you can breach out the back.
Maybe.
I can't remember. Like I said, I've only been in there like 5 times. So. But this fight, that's probably going to change. And I'm, it's kind of one of those things where, I wish it was like more obvious, wasn't so obfuscated, but there's a lot of ammo available to unlock from traders or crafting through quests. Like I had done somehow, I kind of talked about this last week, but somehow I caught wind that M80 was locked behind revision lighthouse. It was a peacekeeper task. We got to mark the tanks. So me and a buddy, I was like, dude, we got to do this. Like we got to do this because M80's historically been very good. And yeah, I kind of like that as well because there's like these weird quest lines. Like right now, I'm kind of like prioritizing the peacekeeper quest line because towards the end you got that M855A1 craft in the hideout where that's the one where you gotta go and kill Kaban, grab his key, go open the office and grab the flash drive and get out, which is kind of fun.
Yeah, kind of a tough one, especially with like low boss spawn rates, but Yeah, it's super interesting. There's quite a lot of changes in general. I mean, probably not going to touch on it this episode, but there's quite a few barter changes as well
Yeah.
across the traders. Like quest ordering is different. Unlocks are different. Like it's weird, and I think the wiki, especially because there's so many changes across so many different things, the wiki's like it's harder to keep up, right? And I know that they were, especially for like Christmas, right? They just didn't have as much manpower, so there's a lot of things that are still needing to be updated. So there's lots of cross referencing that needs to be done. So it's hard to know like 100% whether things have been up to date or not.
Yeah.
On there. So there's actually almost more of a like weird community thing going on, being like, oh, someone finds out, 5501, and you like hear it through the grapevine rather than through like looking it up on the page, because we don't have like access to every single piece of info. It's kind of interesting. So that's kind of cool. Before I forget to mention, I actually forgot to mention it last time, but it's like kind of a bit different, but big personal milestone that the YouTube channel hit 100k subscribers, which I'm very grateful for. And I thought this was going to happen. Like, I like, you look at the stats, look at the numbers, and you can see on YouTube, you can see like monthly, like the number of points on the thing, and it's like, oh, in a wipe, I get like 3k usually, and like 1,000 outside of that or whatever, and so just extrapolating that, I was like, I'll probably happen like mid 2024, something along those lines. And but for some reason, I get the perfect storm of like, I guess being more recognizable in the community, maybe because of Hanover or whatever, I don't know. But then it's White being like amazing, loads of people wanting to come and watch it, plus not that many people doing my type of content anymore. Like lots of people have fallen by the wayside or have moved on to other things or whatever. And it's like the sort of perfect storm. The channel's just gone like absolutely bonkers.
Really? That's great.
This wipe in particular, which is like crazy. I was like, it's by far the best wipe.
You probably put like what, 10k
ever.
subs up in the past like 3 weeks, I'd imagine.
Yeah. So like in the past month, which also includes like a week and a half of pre-wipe where it wasn't even wiping, like 8,500 in a month, which is
really
pretty
good.
insane.
Yeah.
It's like even like 3,000 in the last. Yeah, so it's like 6,000 in 2 weeks. Which is
That's
like,
crazy.
It's like absolutely bonkers, right? That's not normal. So yeah, that's been pretty crazy. So I think like we just blasted straight through. It's like 102,500 now or something, which is just it's just mad.
That's great, man.
But yeah, I forgot like that had happened last week, and I forgot to mention it because I don't know, it's just like slipped my mind. But I thought, I should say something about it because it's a big achievement, honestly. And I suppose the silver plaque thing is going to come through in the post at some point. I've not had a notification or anything. There's literally nothing said about it. I'm just like, am I going to get one? Just like slightly awkward, but no, it's good. It's really, really cool, and it's fun because it's one of those weird things where, as a creator, you're like tied to your, especially as a solo game creator, you're like tied to your game in some ways. So you like, you rise with the tide of the game and you fall with the tide of the game too. And the past sort of quite a lot of wipes actually have just been pretty normal, and that's fine. Like there's nothing wrong with that. That's okay. And then to suddenly have like a spectacular wipe out of nowhere and then spectacular results on the channel too.
Yeah.
Is awesome. It's good. It's good. It's not. It feels good.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
I'm pleased.
Felt like you were, in my mind, 100k Tarkov tuber, but the numbers just didn't reflect it for whatever reason,
Yeah, I think I've never really focused on subs.
Yeah.
Particularly because like these days on YouTube, they don't really do anything. It doesn't like subscribers count doesn't mean anything. And they got inflated by shorts, and like now it's just kind of whatever. And like YouTube doesn't even really use it as a metric for showing you videos. Like if I'm not going to bring it up because I can't be bothered, but I'm sure if you go into my like analytics, like it's like a lot of people, 70% of the videos that you make are watched by people who haven't subscribed. And like I stopped asking people to subscribe because I was just like, it doesn't do anything, right? If people watch the videos and they're not subscribed, YouTube serves them anyway. If people don't watch my videos and they are subscribed, YouTube stops serving you the videos. So it's like it's whatever, right? It's like a small factor, and YouTube even said this themselves. It's a small factor as to what they show you. Like it matters for the small minority of people that use the subscriptions feed predominantly, but it is actually only a small minority of people that do that and use it that way. Most people just use the homepage, and you just get shown stuff that you watch and don't get shown stuff you don't watch. Which sort of makes sense. People have apparently complained in the past and been like, you should weight it more towards like, I never see anything from like this guy or that guy. And then YouTube have said repeatedly, like, we've done so many experiments, like people's satisfaction and watch time on the site goes down whenever we do it. No matter how we do it, it always goes down.
Well, like,
So like pushing more subscribed stuff for things that maybe you aren't even watching. I mean, it obviously has its own downsides, right? It has downsides of like you missing stuff that you might want to see from people that like you did like, but they've made some content recently that you're not that interested in. But then you do start making good stuff again, like it just won't show you, and that's annoying. And it puts you more into bubbles now than it ever did. But their argument is like on average, people tend to enjoy their experience more, and obviously they're looking at like higher watch time, right? So they're incentivized to get you to do that too. But they look at a lot of stuff to do with actual like satisfaction. Like they're quite focused on that because they want people to actually be satisfied, because otherwise they won't come back. It's still like selfishly motivated, but it's actually quite what's the benevolent for the user in many ways. Like not in all ways, but in most ways, because like the incentives are kind of aligned. Like if you have a great time watching the stuff, then like you'll probably come back more. So YouTube's incentivized to give you a great time. So they're trying to like measure a great time in a more like quantitative way, but it's like quite hard. It doesn't always necessarily mean like click through rate and watch time. Not always. Like that's the sort of benchmark, but there's other stuff. People get sucked into content and watch it and then like hate themselves for watching like 40 minutes of just like drivel afterwards. Doesn't necessarily make them want to come back. So they've been trying to like figure that out, but it's like it's hard, right? It's tricky. They are solving not easy problems. Either which way, long-winded way of saying I've never really prioritized it, but it is nice to get to that milestone.
Yeah.
So, thank you everybody for watching the videos. Okay, with that aside, what should we move to next? There's so many things. Like, do you want to talk about like? We could just go straight in and talk about armor if you want.
For
that's kind of like the. Do you want to do something before I go like crazy?
I have one thing that I've been meaning to talk about, and just want to blurt it out there so we can get it out there. Hall of Fame. I love it. It is my favorite hideout station. Why? Because I love killing a PMC, checking their dog tags, and seeing it's a high level, and I get all excited, like, ooh, I can put it in my Hall of Fame, and then it's gonna give me an extra 0.002 extra combat experience. I don't know why. I just love gamifying that whole experience. I just love it. And it's like super not meaningful at all. Like literally the shooting range level 3 gives you way more combat experience than you probably ever could get out of the Hall of Fame 2. Maybe 3 that might change, but yeah, it's just like I don't know why. It's like such a little thing that does absolutely nothing, but I just love it so much.
Have you like maxed it out?
No, it's stuck at level 2 right now. I think it's gonna stay like that for a while.
I was just having a quick look because I haven't really looked at it since getting it to level 1. I've got it to level 2. The small trophies and the large trophies don't do anything, right?
No,
they're just like showcase.
It's for me, it's it's showcase. For me, it's effectively extra storage, which is kind of nice because like it will. Let me think. It won't pull them from hideout upgrades.
Indeed.
And I can't remember the specifics, but anyways, it seems like it keeps them relatively safe. It will pull them for task turn-ins though. There's one thing.
But what, from the Hall of Fame?
I'm pretty sure because I'm pretty sure I put 2 labs cards in there. If I'm not mistaken. I might be wrong because I might have had them in the wallet. I can't remember if it was in the wallet, if I put them in the Hall of Fame, because I want to say I had them in there at one point. Anyways.
1.378%.
Dude,
yeah, because
Go ahead. What were you gonna say?
I literally had only just upgraded to level 2, so I had like 3 spaces, and I've just got really like just annoyed because I was like, oh, I've got 3 tags in here that are really high level, like 28, and then 37, and then 41.
Oh,
and I went in, I was just like, the first one, I was like, yep, I didn't kill them. The second one, oh no, I did kill this guy. Oh, I'm stupid. I killed the first. Okay, I didn't kill the first guy, and I didn't kill the second guy, but I did kill this guy, the level 20. The level 37. I did kill. He was like a P90 guy. Oh, so look, there you go. That takes it to 1.48. Dude, we've added a whole 0.1%. It's nuts. But yeah, I've only upgraded it to level 2, and I hadn't looked at it until now because I didn't really have enough dog tags. And it's like, oh, bear dog tags. I'm just like, great. Like, I need 8 of them for the RSAS anyway. So And like, I just don't pick up bear dog tags. Like I just had no expectation that I was actually going to. You know what? That's probably why I was struggled with bear dog tags and thinking about it, because they were probably in the Hall of Fame. Because I had like 5 out of 8, and I was like, man, I really haven't killed many bears, or at least got their tags out. And yeah, I suddenly realized like, oh, actually, yeah, they're probably in there. That's probably where the rest of them were. I still had enough to do it, so it wasn't too bad. But yeah, no, it's kind of cool. Like Hall of Fame's quite cool. But I haven't done like shooting range is still upgrading because that takes a long time. But yeah, I mean, it's nice to be able to hide stuff in there, especially like if you're doing Kappa, then it's quite useful to be able to put things like Golden Rooster because they're 2x2, they're quite big. That annoying things like you can put them in the junk box, so it's not the end of the world. But yeah, it's kind of a cool thing. Nice little upgrade.
Yeah. I don't know what level 3 does, if it gives you 3 extra dog tags, or if it doubles to 12. Like if you go from 6 to 9 or 6 to 12, I can't remember. I'm kind of hoping the 6 to 12, because then that would actually be pretty significant. But yeah,
Chat's saying +4.
Oh, it's
so
+4
to 10, I think.
Okay, well,
is it expensive to do level 3?
Everything's expensive, dude.
I guess kinda.
That's another thing. Briefly mentioned is I really like how the economy is like what LED lamps. Is that what they're called?
Well, the energy saving.
Yeah, ES lamps. Yeah. They man, those things just like I don't remember them having value, like carrying so much value to like 40K on average. It feels like, and this
I
is
feel like
like
they used to at the start when people were doing illumination, and then they dropped away. But like
right. But now it's
now,
holy crap, and like so many items, like, which I like. I mean, eventually that's going to go away because these are just one-time purchases for creating and / upgrading stations. But it gives a lot of like the economy is very bolstered up, which I think is kind of cool. It's not like you have to loot very, very specific items to make money.
Yeah, I sent you the Hall of Fame 3.
Oh, did you?
Someone just sent it to me on Discord, so I've forwarded you the picture from Ida if you want to stick it up. But yeah, like Hall of Fame 3 requires 15 of those energy saving lamps, which again, like right now, there's like 1 at 45 just for this snapshot, 1 at 45, 1 at 55, 1 at 70, another 3 at 70, and then the next one's at like 86. Even if you get them, well, if I like refresh, if you can, they should be around 40, I think. But even that, that on its own is 600K, which is a lot of money. I mean, people were asking me, they were just like, oh, why have you got so much cash? Like, da da da. And I was just like, well, it's because I'm like level 29.3 or whatever. Like, I haven't got Med Station 3 because I'm Vitality 2.2 or what, or something stupid like that. And I'm like saving all my money. I'd like literally until like last night, I have 14 million. But it was because, I was just like cycling crash trying to get as much stuff done as I can. And I hadn't upgraded anything to hide. I was like, I've also bought no graphics cards this wipe. Like, I just couldn't be bothered, and I'll just do it as I go, I think. We'll see. But I wanted to have the resources to be able to do what I want, like when. But I still need to, pay the money for the air filter. I've got to upgrade to this, upgrade to the Bitcoin farm, upgrade the scav junk box, the scav case. Like, it's expensive stuff. It's all expensive. So it's worth having, a big bank early if you can.
Yeah.
Like bolster it as much as possible, because you're just going to be spending everything. Like, loads of people in my Discord are just like, it did actually make me laugh. Someone was like, does anybody else just get to like, 2 million or something, and then just like spend it all on the hideout until they realize that they have like 20,000 rubles and are unable to put a kit together? And someone else just replied on it. It was just like, yes, I have also played Tarkov. Which I was like, oh my God. Yeah, it's just everybody. It was so funny. So yeah, I mean, like I've like been blocked by my own like progression this time rather than the other way around, which is kind of annoying. So like, I really wish that VSG would get rid of the Vitality 3 thing. It's stupid. Like, I keep trying to like, anytime I get like any ability to give feedback, I'm just like, please, because like it goes so counter to the game. It's like everybody who just like runs around in CQB gets shot and dies really like all the time. I have no issue with it, and everybody like, especially this wipe, because my survival rate is like still good. Like, I had to do setup and stuff, so that's hurt it a little bit. But I'm still sitting on 72%, which is pretty good for me, right? Like, I think that's still the best wipe that I've had. I've played like 114 PMC race. I've still only died 30 times. So that's really good, but it makes it very, very tough on the vitality thing. And I ended up having to go and cheese it. And it's just such a stupid thing. Like we've got rid of almost all of the other stupid things like this, like strength, and you have to throw a billion grenades or hit each other in the leg with a melee weapon at the end of raid. And like we've got rid of almost all of this other crap, right? And like the sniper skills thing has changed because you don't have to do like Tarkov Shooter 4, you don't have to get to sniper skill 3 anymore to do it, because now it's an actual like go and play the game quest as opposed to sit doing meaningless reloads and stuff. Like there is still meaningless reload type tasks later, but because it's late on, you can do other tasks like Shooter Born in Heaven and Target for Shooter Part 8 to like mitigate against that. So it's sort of like I haven't like I think the mechanics on that work, but anyway, it's like it's not early, so it doesn't like gatekeep the rest of the Tarkov Shooter line, which is nice. But this thing, it's still just it's so annoying, and it's awful. And yeah, I had to go and do. I think I did 5 raids on Shoreline in barbed wire. I even posted one of them. I posted like the craziest one up on Twitter, which is quite funny. Like from bad to worst, I had one raid where I tried to get from Path to Lighthouse down to the tunnel barbed wire, the one that's sort of like up the little ridge line. You know where you used to do there's like the camping spot above tunnel?
Yes.
If you go from there and you walk towards like the back edge of the village,
yes,
just along the edge of the map, there's like a set of barbed wire there. That's the other barbed wire that I use. I don't like that one as much because like people do go to village to loot. People are extracting out of tunnel, so I don't really like it as much. But anyway, I tried to get from Path to Lighthouse before I even got to village. I started getting like sniped out. I actually saw this guy like out of my peripheral vision. I was like, oh my god, I'm amazed I saw him, and he looked like super undergeared, and I was like, this is like really weird. And then I carried on, and then I got like started getting shot at, and I was just like, oh man, I'm just gonna have to like pop a stim and whatever. And then I just like I got hit once, twice, and then I just died. And I was like, what? Like what? Did he like headshot me from like all the way over there? Like he didn't look like he had anything. And it turned out it was 50 BMG slugs, and the guy shot me in the buttocks. I was like, oh, that is rubbish. That is. I didn't realize how much health I was losing. That was the issue. And yeah, he just legged me basically because he goes to stomach, but it's only a 1.5 multiplier.
Oh, buttocks counts as stomach.
It does. It does. So yeah, I got shot in the butt with 50 BMG slug and died without doing anything, which is annoying. But then I had my best raid, which was I had to fight through 2 dudes. Like I put it up on Twitter because I got 8,000 XP for a barbed wire raid, which is quite unusual. Like it's sort of unusual. Like healing gives you quite a lot of experience. It's quite surprising. Like I always come out like ones where I've maxed out a grizzly or something. I'm always surprised at how much healing XP you get, because that also gets multiplied by 1.3 when you survive. So if you do manage to run to the other side of the map and get out, then you get it boosted too, which is quite cool. But yeah, on this one, I had to fight through. It was actually the same thing. Path to Lighthouse, go down towards tunnel. I fought first guy. Actually, I saw him because I was going in with an SV98 and a P90, like just in case I saw somebody from long range, so I could try and get something done for Tarkov Shooter 4, like the new one. It's like the over ATV to headshots. Because I'm like standing in one place for ages. I was just like, maybe I'll see somebody. Because I'm more AFK doing that than I am doing anything else. Anyway, I saw this guy by like the house with all the like the jackets and stuff. There's like that main house. I had like took a few pot shots, just like I literally couldn't get them to connect. I was like, what really? I need to go back and review that actually because I just couldn't. I was like, these are dead on, I'm sure. Anyway, he disappeared, so I carried on, and then it like I waited for a while, but then it turned out he also waited for a while, and then like crested the hill, and I P90'd him as he came over the hill. It was the same guy. I was like, oh okay, so I took his stuff. Then I went down to the vitality bit, like did a bit of vitality, and then somebody else turned up, and I don't know what they were doing. They went up to like the sniping spot, over Scav Island, over tunnel, and as they came back, I P90'd them. I was just like, God, couldn't people just like go away? Anyway, that guy had a grizzly as well, so I ended up with 2 grizzlies. So I used like 2 full grizzlies, 3 AFACs that I brought in that were like 200 out of 400 because I was just like, what else am I going to do with them? So I just used all those, and a full IFAC as well. And that's why I ended up with like so much healing XP. I got like 4,200 healing XP, which ended up, it gets multiplied by 1.3 or something. So I ended up, and 2 kills. So I was like, well, that was actually like kind of nuts. But I still had to run 4 raids of doing vitality stuff, like 2 at tunnel, 2 at railroad.
Yeah.
To get enough XP, because I was literally like just into 2. I was like 2. I was like level 2 with because it's out of 30, isn't it? Yeah, I was level 2 and I had like 5 or 10 points out of the 30 that you need to get to level 3. And it just takes a while. I think like you're hard pressed to get like I don't think you'd be maybe if it under perfect like lab conditions, maybe you could get 10 experience points, maybe. But I think the best that I did was like 7 or 8 in one particular raid. Like it's just hard because of the 5-minute thing and
Right.
the cooldown on skill like diminishing returns. It's just annoying because I wait the 5 minutes and then go
Yeah.
again and then wait the 5 minutes and go again, and I get it down to like usually I go to, if I've got enough meds, I get it down to like 60% and I use the full 60% one as well, and then it goes to 36 and then I stop. I wait 5 minutes and then I let it refresh to
Yeah.
100 and I do 160 and then let it refresh again. But it's so painful, it's so pointless, and it's just such a waste of time, and it
Yeah.
genuinely takes me like 4 hours of just like nothing time. Like I'm not going to do it on stream. I actually did one on stream last wipe, and people coming in the middle were just like, "What the hell's going on?" But dude, it's bad. Did you have to? You had to do it, didn't you? Yeah, you said.
Yeah, dude. It was about an hour, a little bit over an hour of grinding because I had. It's been a while since I've done it, so I couldn't remember like a good efficient way to do it. And pro tip this swipe: find a set of barbed wire, namely the one Giga mentioned by Village is good, or honestly tunnel behind the like
The concrete like
barricades.
barricade.
Yeah, you're like outside the extract zone, and you can just sit there in the basically what you want to do. You want to take damage on your arms, stomach, legs, and that's it. Like
Yeah.
direct barbed wire damage, because that way you'll like not you can take more damage while healing and being more efficient that way. Versus like some of them, like the one by past the shoreline, there's like the fence that has barbed wire, and one of the barbed wire is like dangling down, and you can like you can rub your head against it, but the problem is this swipe they like cranked up the damage on like environmental stuff. Barbed wire fire insta kills you now, like virtually insta kills you. Like I was playing an offline raid testing something, can't remember, and I like ran by a barrel that was on fire and it was too close by it apparently, and it just like insta killed me. I was like, oh okay, that's gotta watch out for that.
Yeah, there's something weird going on with damage. I feel like this is a running thread through like this wipe and some of the weird mechanics. But yeah, because a lot of people were saying to me like, "Oh, how are you supposed to do it now if like fire and barbed wire kills you instantly?" And I was like, "Fire probably kills you instantly because it was fast before. Like
That's
it,
pretty fast, yeah.
it was pretty quick. It was a lot quicker than barbed wire was, but barbed wire doesn't insta kill you. Like you can have your head in it. Yeah, unless like if you put your head in it and you just like 360 your mouse, like
you will
super
die.
fast, you will die.
Yeah.
But you can like move your head side to side, and the issue is your head just takes disproportionately more damage than the rest of your body for some reason. Now I have my theories, but like for some reason it does, and I have been able. I did actually. I never got caught out, thank God. But like, I did sort of get a bit fed up with the vitality thing, and I was sort of like running the gauntlet at one point because I just activate the grizzly on my head and then just like waggle it in the barbed wire. So it's like I could see it going like yellow, green, yellow, green, yellow, green, yellow, green because the grizzly like heals super fast, and I was like, how close to the wire can I like push this? I don't want to just like suddenly just like instantly die, like intra tick between grizzly heals or something, like because that would be really annoying. But I did push it quite hard, and you can, as long as you're healing the head, it's all right, but. Just a bit of a surprise if you're used to the old method. But yeah, if you're doing it like just on legs, then it's much more straightforward because they take like the regular amount of damage. But it's just very strange. But like, yeah, I think to that point, there may be multiple issues, right? And I'll touch on this more in a minute about armor. But I think for this in particular, there are now a lot more hitboxes, and this would appear to point towards fire, for example, hits the head hitboxes, and it hits. I don't know, like I don't know what they've done. I don't know how they've redone it, right? Because we don't, and not enough stuff of like is floated out into the public domain yet from behind the scenes. Because we'll never really know, right? Unless somebody goes and really like. I know BSG hates this stuff, but like until somebody goes and like decompiles it all, like we won't actually really ever know what's happening. We just like can see the results and theorize. But for example, if they rather than the old head hitbox, which was a sphere, which again we know because of people doing this kind of thing. Right? I think it was even no food and stuff back in the day before like it was a big bad topic, and it was like a literal sphere, and depending on like where on the sphere, so Tarkov calculates like where the bullet comes in, and and it calculates like the interaction like area, so the point of impact on the sphere, and then based on the angle from like your PMC's like orientation coordinates or whatever it is, like based on the angle of where it is, that then determines the hitbox. Whereas like if they've now changed it so that you have like each one is its own, I mean who knows, right? But if they've changed it so each one is its own hitbox and it only works like that because like now the helmet's in multiple parts, I don't know. But if top, nape, face, eyes, jaws, like if they're all their actual own hitbox now, then yeah, if you like shove it into barbed wire and rub it around, like
Right.
you might take damage to all of them. So you may take like
Yeah.
5x damage now rather than
That's
before.
that's
It's
an
not a
interesting
sufficient
idea.
explanation. Yeah, it's not a sufficient explanation though, because like you don't really see that on the thorax, and there's like 4 thorax hitboxes now, and there's like 6 stomach hitboxes. So it's like I don't know if it's like,
Yeah, but I mean they're much.
but that's only for armor. So I don't know if it's like PMC vitals. Like
Mm-hmm.
there's a difference. Anyway, I'll go into that a bit more. But I suspect it's something to do with like multi hitbox and multi damage going through, something like that. Because like you see that elsewhere as well in other parts of the system. Um, so it's a bit strange. But yeah, needless to say, like without having level 30, which I only just got to, and without having med station 3, you're just stuck. You can't do intel, you can't do workbench 3, you can't do generator, you can't, like there's loads of stuff you can't do. You can't, so obviously you can't make Bitcoin, you can't make anything. You're just like stuck there, which is why I like was hoarding so much cash. It's kind of funny. But yeah, no, it's I still think barbed wire works. I think it's the best way. If you are stuck on
Yeah.
vitality, it's still
Yeah.
the best way. But I wish they just get rid of it. It doesn't serve any
Absolutely.
purpose. You still need the trader levels. You still need the prerequisites. You still have to
Yeah.
upgrade to level 2. You still need a LEDX. You still need a ophthalmoscope. Oh, is it ophthalmoscope?
Mm-hmm.
You need LEDX and maybe that's the quest. Maybe
I
that's
think
therapist
it's
quest, but
3 ophthalmoscopes, if I'm not mistaken. Or maybe I'm
maybe it's the same.
tripping.
Yeah,
I don't remember.
not sure. I even like so I actually have 2 LEDXs. I found one
Mm-hmm.
randomly while I was like talking to my buddies in Discord one night, which is like I actually have not been doing that recently because I've been super busy and everyone's been busy. We've not really been playing the same. Like we kind of stopped playing like Warhammer Dark Tide, and we've not all really been playing the same games. We've all kind of like dispersed again a bit. But I was just like chatting to my buddies, and I was like running a street scav run. Just like randomly a LEDX appears in this duffel. I was just like, "Hello guys, this became very urgent, very quickly." I'm just
Just having a casual time with the boys, and suddenly Lex appears. You're like,
And yeah, I'm just like, I am suddenly sweating bullets. Yeah, everyone was just like, I'm actually sweating for you. And then they changed because Streets now has the expansion. I've not really played much Street Scav since the expansion. I didn't. So you used to get 4. This is like, yeah, often a real tangent, but you used to get like 4. There used to be 4 Scav extracts around the map, and you always got them. They were always the same ones. So I was like, oh, I'll just go to Concordia. Went to Concordia, but like I kind of spawned Concordia because I was looting construction. Yeah, the construction, yeah, like collapsed grain. But I spawned there, and it was just like, oh no, your extract is over in Expo, and I was like, oh god, like now that there's more scavs extracts, now that I don't always get the one that's like next to me, so that's actually a big like nerf. But I looted everything. I looted loads of stuff, so I had like 55 kilos. So I had to just like saunter down the main road, just like all the way down to the extract. I was like, oh man, this is crazy. But anyway, we got that out. So I was so worried that it was going to take the finding raid LEDX that I ended up putting the LEDX, the finding raid one, in my secure container when I did the
yeah.
upgrade. Because I was like, if that takes the finding raid one, like I'm just gonna cry. I'm actually just gonna cry so much. So yeah, so that's all on the blend now. Like the rest of the stuff's unlocking, which is good. But yeah, barbed wire weird. Like it still works, but like I've not even touched fire yet. I don't really go anywhere with fire. But a lot of people say they died in like shoreline gas station and stuff trying to do the jump over, and it just
Yeah.
insta kills you on the way past.
I've done that once, but it's it was like a scav run. I was like, I'll risk it, but yeah, it's very like super sketch now. But
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I feel like your theory makes sense. I mean, if you think about it too, the probably the simplest implementation for like the barbed wire and fire is like it's just like a square box that's like the damage zone. And if you
Yeah.
have multiple sectioned off hitboxes, let's say for the head, let's say it's sectioned off in like 3 pieces, yeah, that would hurt a lot because you're like it's a area, right? Like it's not a bullet or a projectile. And even if it was like a very precise hitbox, like the barbed wire, it's like spirally, it's still very like you're still kind of running the same issue when the head touches it. Which I have a couple funny different stories with me dying and other people dying unexpectedly to hazards now. Like my first shoreline, one of my earliest shoreline raids, I had planted the SV98. I happened upon maybe it was that or a different quest, but anyways, I happened upon a couple PMC kills, and I like insurance fraud all my stuff. Got all this loot, heavy. Walked the long trek towards the railway extract, and I was basically there. It was like 5 or 3 minutes left in the raid. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna squeeze all the XP out of this raid. I can be hyper efficient. Let me just rub against some barbed wire, and I shoved my head in it, wiggled my mouse like I used to, and it died instantly. And I was just like, oh. I may have been punished for being that greedy.
I've seen a few clips of that. I saw one from Jay as well. I think he's got like a running joke in his community about like do some spin through the barbed wire and it doesn't hurt you or whatever. Like it clearly does, but he's just like it's some running joke that he's got, and he just like goes like spins through the barbed wire and just insta dies or falls over, and he's just like speechless, just like mouth agape, like what? I've certainly seen a few people do that.
Yeah, I I also played with a couple community members from ScavTalk Discord, and I played with CZ and CZTL and Gamer Dude, who CZTL, and CZ had jumped. We were playing customs. We were just doing like the customs task, kill scavs. Everyone's got that task, no matter what level you're at. Feels like, and CZ had jumped on the blue trash can that's kind of near gas. Like you're on the inside.
On the factory side.
On the factory side, yeah, where there's like the 3 different warehouses. And anyways, there's like a jump over. You can jump on top of the blue container and then jump. Sometimes you can jump right over. Sometimes you got to jump on the little lip of the trash can to then jump over the fence with the barbed wire or whatever. But I guess he was like looking at where he was standing when he like went to jump or something, but basically he shoved his head inside the barbed wire. But because he died instantly, and at the time I really wasn't like aware that barbed wire was doing that much damage, I thought someone sniped him. So I was like freaking out, like because I didn't hear the shot, I didn't hear the crack. I'm like, what is going on? Where's this guy at? And then finally he's like, I died to barbed wire? And I'm just like, oh my god, what is going on, bro? Yeah, that raid was... we fought like the entire scav nation. Like 50 scavs are just like literally we spawned near ZB and they just like did not stop spawning. It was crazy.
You know what? That happens now. It's really crazy. And there's a few areas on customs. Like I've had it in that area. There's like it's a little bit further up actually. It's like more towards checkpoint. And there's a hole in the wall. But like now scavs they'll basically like come 20 firefight from like wherever.
Yeah.
There's like a whole road of scavs, all the scavs in the factory zone and all the scavs in like the 3 warehouse area, like all came to me. I was just like, my God, this is insane. And I've had it on the other side of the map, like kind of by the bridge, the end of like the main bridge. There's like that divot before you get into Elbow and like, where you need to do Bond's Pocket Watch and all that stuff. But there's that low ground. And it was just scav spawning over and over and over. And like that was the one that did seem kind of infinite. Like I killed so many and I was like, I'm going to run out of bullets here. I just need to go. And they were just coming in like waves of like 3. And they were coming from, the gas, like not gas station, sorry, the Dorms Hill. They were coming from the road. They were coming from inside, like sort of Elbow skeleton. They were coming from like RUAF kind of area. I was like, holy crap! Like this is great. I need to get out of here. I just need to go. But like it's quite it's good for XP and stuff. I quite like it. You're getting like hoarded by like waves of scavs. It's like quite fun.
It's not the worst thing in the world.
Yeah,
maybe.
So yeah, barbed wire is pretty nutty. I've also spent a lot of time on. Did you have any other barbed wire like stories? You said there's a couple. No. Was that the main one?
Yeah, so highlights.
Spent quite a long time on customs because of setup as well. Like, have you finished setup? Have you completed it?
I have not. I'm 10 out of 15. I'm gonna probably wait till I get some insurance back and then do that grind again.
Yeah. So that was what I was doing. I think when I got hoarded, but I had like someone else's gun. I had like 153 and a mutant. Honestly, like the first time, it's weird because setup is now early. It's so early. There's like a lot of outcry especially across like creators. I've noticed about setup, and my theory is that because it's now so early, everyone gets it early. So like everybody's kind of doing it when they're sort of undergeared. Like when it was later, like I used to hate it, and lots of people used to hate setup. But like a lot of like streamers used to get there really fast, and so also because of the way that they've changed the the systems, you used to just like speed through, get to set up at, I'd like, I'd see people doing it at, they're like level 35, 40, whatever, and
Right.
everyone else is level 15, and you can just do whatever the hell you like. At that point, it doesn't matter. Like, you've got AP20 slugs, you've got flechette, like everyone just dies in one
Got
shot.
Karuns, most likely.
Yeah, and you've got class 5 on, so it's like,
Yeah.
it's different. Whereas like now, it's like, well, you know, most people are kind of the same gear as you, and the
Yeah.
recoil system is low now, so like everybody kind of like can fight back, and like it makes it kind of tough if you're like used to fighting out gearing. I can see kind of maybe like that's sort of part of the reason, because like in a lot of these threads that are complaining about setup, like there's a lot of like ordinary people underneath being like, oh, I think it's great actually, like I'm having a good time, like my runs look like this anyway normally, and I feel like I can actually compete with people. And I sort of feel the same because I level more like a normal Tarkov person than a creator, so to speak, or like a streamer, because I spend so much time doing YouTube stuff. It's actually, yeah, it's weird how that ended up. Actually, it's like because I do so much YouTube stuff, I like my full time. I'm like working full time. It just so happens to be in Tarkov. It's just like, but I can't play the game because I'm like
Right.
editing and whatnot. So it's like it's weird. So, but it sort of helps because then I like keep pace with like people who are watching. Anyway, it's interesting. So like for me, I was just like, oh, this is actually really good because now it's early. Now I can run it early before everyone's wearing stupid armor, and I'm like running around with buckshot or whatever. The only thing that makes it interesting now is because Flechette they got switched, which was sensible, right? Like last wipe, Piranha was craft and Flechette was purchase on Jaeger 3, which didn't make sense. No one ever crafted Piranha. There was literally no point.
Yeah.
It was just a completely useless cartridge. Then they got swapped this wipe, but they brought Piranha back to Jaeger 2, and now Flechette is craft, which is, I mean, it makes more sense. Whether Jaeger 2 is like slightly too early, I'm not sure, but like a lot of people seem to be using Piranha. Like, so there seems to be two schools of thought, right? Let's put it this way. So there seems to be two schools of thought. There's like most people using Piranha, and then there's a bunch of people using like BMG slugs. And then there's people using like Magnum, who seem to be fewer and far between, but having a good time doing it.
All right, you listed 3, so what's the 2 schools out of those 3?
Yeah, that's the 2 schools is Piranha and BMG, and then there's just like then there's
Really?
people doing random buckshot stuff. Yeah, I think like most people seem to be doing it with Piranha.
Okay, I was kind of surprised by the BMG because I was basically for like the first 9 kills I was using exclusively BMG, and
Oh right.
I was having kind of a miserable time because I would like just lay into people and they just won't die. They will not die unless you headshot them, which I just, it's kind of difficult for me anyways with a 1x. Maybe that was a problem. I should have used like a 2x or 2.5 or something like this. Maybe that was my issue. But yeah, I don't know. That was one thing I really struggled with, was like just actually killing people with the thing, and I feel like armor is a big part of that. And also, I didn't realize BMG was only 28 pin. I thought it was like 30 something, like a low 30,
Yeah.
32 or something. But which now I'm using like Piranha / Magnum, like a mix. Like I'll put like the first 2 rounds of Piranha and then Magnum underneath. Which I don't know.
I feel like I
That's
just can't do
optimal.
that. I feel like I just can't do that. Like I understand, like people who like Magnum, I get it. Like Magnum on paper is really good. It's really good at leg meta. Like there was a Discord video that somebody posted, and they just like fired at this guy, and it was just a headshot, and he died.
That's
It was
how.
like okay, and it was like literally like 90 meters on the death screen.
Yeah.
And I looked up the calculation, and because it's 50 a pellet, so that's why it's so powerful. And it's like 100 meters is like 35 damage. So if you hit them
Wow.
in the eyes anywhere under 30 meters, under 100 meters with Magnum, then they die. And it's just like, well, that's great. And then it does 400 if you hit all the pellets to the leg. So it's an easy 2 shots to the leg. Well, I mean, the 70% thing now, but like it does so much damage that it still does it even with the 70%. But for me, the main issue is it's the me problem, and that I've used so much Flechette in the past, playing factory with a 153 and whatever. Because I used to, that would used to be like my factory gun. I used to run it all the time with a laser, and it worked amazingly. But I'm so used to the 0 recoil modifier that when I use Magnum, it just screws up my whole like rhythm around like when I can shoot, like when the target comes back into view, how high it goes. Like it messes up everything that I know about the gun. And Piranha has like the same characteristics. as Flechette, whereas like Magnum is really different. So if you're used to using Magnum, it's fantastic. But if you're not used to using it, it feels like you're firing like the 50 cal every time it goes off, because the
I think
recoil
I
is
know
like
what you
so much
mean.
more extreme. So like a mix for me would just be absolute killer. Like I wouldn't know what was coming next. It would be even worse probably than just using Magnum on its own. Actually, not to mention the Magnum's access problems, right? You can only get access to it at Jaeger 3, and the class has
Yeah.
been removed from Workbench 1 at least. I don't know whether you get it later. I'll have a look and see if you get it in base. You get it in the base Workbench. No, I can't even make it now, a Workbench 3. So unless it's behind a task or something. I don't know. But yeah, so like I'm using Piranha. As far as I'm concerned, Piranha's felt very similar to the way Flechette did at the same point in the task, right? Me shooting at people with class 4/5 on with Piranha, with Flechette, feels the same to me as now shooting at people with like class 2 and 4 in the new armor system, for example. Feels very similar. And I think people expect too much of Piranha as well. Like people who are like having struggles with Piranha, like if they're over 10 meters or 15 meters away,
Mm-hmm.
you probably are going to have to shoot them like 6 times. And sometimes you get unlucky. Like it's very spread orientated. So most of the time that when I'm using it, I spend like the majority of my time with Piranha trying to get under 10 meters just tactically. And then when we have the fight, I'm just like bam, 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 bam. So one thing that's like quite liberating about Piranha is that I just kind of don't really care about audio, because I'm like, they going to hear me. And like, I'm not going to snipe this guy. So like, he's going to hear me no matter what. So I basically just play like quite Shift W with it, because I can't not be in audio range. So like, why worry about it? I just need to, if I hear them, I just need to path correctly. Like I'm not trying to path in a way that I'm like going to see them. I'm trying to path in a way that like they can hear me, I can hear them, but I'm trying not to be heard, or not, sorry, not to be seen, even though I can hear them, until we're really close. And then I suddenly pop out and they're like, oh no, it's Scav Man with his 153. And I'm just like, haha. And then I, click the button like turbo fast and semi-auto them to death, because it's the 153 is like, it's a speedy boy.
Yeah.
It's a speedy boy.
Yeah, I was just
So
shooting the
yeah.
magnums in the hideout, and like if you spam that thing, oh boy, are you in for like and you really can't. And I kind of feel like, and the difference between Piranha and Magnum is like night and day. Like it's very extreme. But yeah, I kind of feel like shotguns this swipe kind of got screwed a little bit with the new recoil. Oddly enough, like I was using the Sega early on. Maybe I had Magnum, and I don't remember. Maybe I had some off of Scav or something, but it just I don't know. They just kind of feel weird. I mean, the Piranha feels fine, but like they kind of just like go wildly too quickly, if that makes any sense.
What, the spread or?
Yeah, like that, how the recoil system works, like it goes vertical and then it starts shifting left and right. With like the
Oh, I
shotguns,
see.
feels like you get maybe like 1 or 2 shots off and then it's already at the apex and it's already kind of like going crazy. That's just, I mean, the Piranha doesn't really feel like that.
Yeah. I feel like you can spam the Piranha. Like I've got multiple kills on setup this time with literally like I'm firing it as fast as I physically can, and I just blast them with like 4 or 5 cartridges, and they just explode in front of me. Because it is like you can fire so quickly with Piranha out of a 153, and you just pull down a bit, and it's just like bam, 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 and they just if you're within 5 to 10 meters, it's very difficult to not die to it. Yeah, it's weird. I feel like that's the thing. I feel like it stayed the same for me, because it's been nerfed because all the full auto stuff is so good, but then it's been buffed because all the armor is so crap. Because Piranha's in that like weird state, and like you probably don't want to be doing the quest. I didn't really want. A lot of people were saying like, "Oh, why are you even bothering with it?" And I was just like, "Well, I'm gonna do it eventually, and I'd rather do it now, because Piranha, like unless I get Flechette later, like Piranha's like 24 pen. So it's not very good against class 3 actually, but most people are wearing like replaceable plates with class 2 soft armor. And what that means with Piranha is that you can shoot them at sort of the top of the neck kind of area, and you might get a headshot, you might get throat, you might get the top area of the thorax that's not covered by a replaceable plate. So there's like this whole section that it will deal with 24 pen, and you get loads of chances to do so, because Piranha also has 10 darts. So it actually has the most projectiles out of all of the multi shots. Like Express has 9, but Piranha has 10. It's 25 per, so you still need to hit them twice.
Yeah.
But you get 10. So it's kind of cool. And it felt the same. Like the experience for me felt the same. Playing in the same way as doing it in the same position last time in some ways, except it was like slightly easier to get close because people aren't all using scopes. So like tactically I found it easier, but then the actual fight felt like roughly the same in terms of performance once I was there. I think like some people's biggest gripes. Oh, actually, sorry, just before I say that, like the 153 is my favorite. I did a quick test of the 153 and the 155. Like I waited until I was Jaeger 3 in the first place because I wanted the 8-round mag. If you have the 7-round, it's still probably okay, but I wanted the big mag. So I waited for that. I did test the 153 and the 155. It still seems like the 153 has the faster return to center, so you can spam it slightly quicker. The Saigo I didn't want to do because the replaceable mags things, and it was only 5 per, and you have to get like a 3x1 if you want to have the 10s, and I couldn't buy them, and blah blah blah. So anyway, I waited till that. But like my build is just like very straightforward. I just get the GKO2 if I can, if it's in stock. If not, just the Remington, and then I put the ring mount on. That's really it. Like I got bullied by chat into building an Ergo 153 to finish the quest, just to put on that, the forward cannon that's 2 slots wide, like 2 slots tall, to put on like the extra stock and blah blah. So I did that in the end. But like the whole set of first ones I used was basically the stock gun with any muzzle that I could buy, whichever one I could buy at the time, and the target ring, because the target ring doesn't go on the 155; it only goes on the 153. And I really like the target ring. I think it's good.
Yeah.
So yeah. Oh yeah, setup is an MP series.
MP
setup.
series. Yeah, you could technically
so
use
you
the
can't do
double
the Saigo.
barrels if you wanted.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe you can.
Yeah,
so you have to use 155 or 153. But yeah, I like the target ring. So I the one time that the 153s were sold out, I tried to buy the 155, but then the 155, like, space gun, all those parts were sold out as well. So it's like, God damn it. So I had to use like a stock 155. So this feels bad. But yeah, in the end it was all right. I just did the whole thing with Piranha and it was fine. I actually didn't even die that much. I was quite surprised, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of like, I love and hate setup, and I think the part that was frustrating was just like people just would not die, which I think that's just a product of me hitting their plates, and which is why, like, the times I died to there's a couple times where I faced other setuppers, and it was always head eyes by either Piranha or Magnum every time, and I just think that's like, and it wasn't like they were up close either. It was like they just shot me from like 15 plus meters. And it's just like,
and they just snagged the roll on the spread or whatever.
Yeah. Whereas like using I wanted to do something different using because it's kind of like AP20s, but it's,
but bad.
Yeah. But bad. But I figure, because the wipe's different, maybe they'd be more viable, but
yeah,
it's just soft spots. But it just doesn't really cut it, and it just makes more sense.
I tried using them as well earlier on, just randomly, and I was like, I shot this one, like I was on the bridge, and there was a guy on Junk Bridge. I just couldn't get it to land. Yeah, 10 MOA. It's like, are they even hitting him? Like,
are they even hitting him? Is it even, dude? I
the
swear,
zeroing is weird on slugs as well.
You gotta use,
the whole thing's just a mess.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta use a red dot, like a 25 one, to kind of get around it. I just don't know, man. I think it's largely the armor system that's kind of causing that. But
yeah,
unless you find like a Timmy Paka, which I did actually go night, and then I went dorms and they were trying to get their Zippo lighter out of there. I was like, oh, they were like begging for their lives. I was like, oh, it feels so bad, dude, but I need these kills. And I killed them. It was kind of sweaty though, because I was choking a lot, quite honestly. But yeah,
I think that's a big thing about setup. A lot of people feel like they just perform quite badly on the quest compared to like how they do normally, because like you kind of like have it in your mind that you're like under geared and like there's only certain fights you can take. Like it really can like get into your head. I think, especially if you're like used to using certain. It depends what kind of playstyle you have. Like I think setup kind of like it's more like the playstyle I usually have, but sort of like cranked up to 11. Whereas for a lot of people, it's like either like just completely different to the way they play normally, and so it makes it hard for them to actually like go and do that. because I feel like I play the way I play setup, except rather than, I'm targeting like 50 meters, but that kind of thing, because I can kill them with whatever gun I've got at that range. Whereas the setup, you really do have to be quite close. But it sort of makes me feel more confident because I don't feel like dumb to lose the kit doing something stupid, because I'm like, well, I had to be close anyway. Like I was not going to kill them unless I got close, so I just got to like try to make the play and get in. And it makes me like really weird. It makes me like weirdly confident. I'm like almost more confident doing setup than I am with other stuff, because I'm almost expecting to die, and I'm like, I've just got to try stuff and just get in there. But like even it depends though, because like even still, like my initial approach is kind of, I sort of like run to somewhere near the middle, like where sort of hotspot crossovers are. So like if I'm like at the dorm spawn, I might like sit by the ice cream van for a minute and like listen, and just wait and see if somebody comes. And then if they don't, I'll like go to bus, and then I'll wait and I'll listen, and then I might go to gas and I'll wait and I'll listen. I'm just like trying to figure out like where people are. Are there shots? If there are shots, I'll run towards them. Hopefully they shoot a bit more, like try to scout somebody out. And then once I kind of have like a bead on somebody, then I'm like, right, now it's pathing time. So now it's just like path through all the stuff, try to get close, try to get in audio range. Because then once we're both in audio range, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to run you down. So it's kind of like, I quite like it. I quite like the setup.
Yeah, I like you and I have a very similar play style, because I like I said, I kind of like setup, but I also kind of hate it because the gear sometimes can be challenging. But yeah, I loved chase. Like there's this one time where I'd spawn like, I think I spawned like old gas, or the trains or whatever, and I pushed back towards the ZB spawns, and because I heard gunshots there, and they were at checkpoint, and so I like rotated, because that's one thing I like about setup is like sometimes these like jumps that you can do to like bypass shortcuts and navigate around the map, and I was also using this Glock here that I got. It's like I like there's this barter. It's like two of the longer WD-40s cans that you can do, and you get this Glock, and basically it has a threaded barrel. You strip off of the attachments. I put on the little green dots, or the green ghost ring irons, because I think they look cool, and then I buy a suppressor, whatever, to kill scavs, which it just feels so good this fight, because the pistols like actually work, like actually function. And that way I'm suppressed, and then with the shotgun I got like just a pretty, it's unsuppressed, right? But I just love, like, dude, I literally like tracked these guys the entire map and like shot them from so many different angles. Like checkpoint, I shot them, they got scared, like, because there's a 3-man, they got scared and ran through the factory side. So like then I got on top of the car near gas to like shoot over the red gates at them, because they were over by they were now heading towards old gas. And so then I went around to I guess like construction, and they were at like stronghold, and I guess they were like gonna go through stronghold to like the center where you cross into like skeleton. So I like met them at the corner on the right side where like the containers are at, and then like rotate around. Was that crack? They shot at me. Then now they were held up at stronghold. They shot at me through crack because I was peeking the windows. I think they ultimately took they had someone cut on power, and they took the ZB because I guess they had the key. But yeah, there's like two different. You could play that way, which I find really fun, or you could play like the other way, which is like camp bush or camp building, rush the dorms is kind of another way, which sometimes I'll go for. But yeah.
It is cool when you have those ones where you're tracking somebody the whole time.
Yeah, it's fun.
It's awful when it happens to you though, right? Because like you're just like, no matter where you go, you're just getting shot, and you're like, oh no, just like leave me alone. I've certainly had that myself. It's just like you're just seemingly like unable to escape. No, it's good though. But yeah, like a lot of people complaining about setup, like people just don't like it. People don't want to do the quest. I think some of the biggest issues with it is that because it's now early and lots more people are doing it, like Ushankas are just like turbo expensive. So every time you die, it's like 50k for the Ushanka. So like there should probably be a barter for that, or maybe you'll be able to buy it or something. At least be able to buy it for 25k from Ragman or something like that.
Yeah. I mean,
can't just go off into 70, 80k when people are all on at peak time, because that is kind of annoying.
Some people were saying check fence, but like I haven't seen a single one on fence. I imagine
the fact that you have to sit there and bespoke check him. I hate it. I hate any check fence thing. I just hate it because it's like it's hardly ever there. You have to sit there and refresh. Like You can't just have like a wish list for fence, and
Right.
the whole thing is just weird.
Yeah. But yeah, it's not too bad. I got 5 more, and like I'll probably give it a go. I'm kind of doing the lighthouse shotgun quests for Punisher, so more shotguns, yay.
Yeah, I haven't done that yet. I've been trying to focus on a few other things. I smashed through like a load of interchange stuff, which was okay. That was all right. 'Cause I was trying to get on to, I guess, we could talk about it now. I was trying to get on to So It Good, because that was like one of the notoriously bugged quests that we may have talked about last time. I think we might have done, where you used to have to hand in under 50% gazelles, over 50% gazelles, under 50% Zabrallos, over 50% Zabrallos. In the old system, you used to go in with a friend and get them to shoot you and then leave it in the bush and get it back in insurance. Or you do what I used to do, which was just go into factory and run around like an idiot until eventually you get it, underneath the required threshold. This wipe, it was weird because you had to get every single inbuilt. You didn't need plates. No replaceable plates needed to be in them. It was all on inbuilt, but every single inbuilt piece needed to be under 50, which was really hard because both the Gazelle and the Zabrallo both have a neck component, which is very hard to get under 50 because it's class 2 on... No, it is, to be fair, it is class 3 on both of them. But, if it goes wrong, it's connected to the head hitbox, which is really not ideal.
Yep.
So you tend to die. And, it's a bit strange. Like, I didn't actually end up needing to verify, because I didn't get there in time. I didn't need to verify whether, like, you can run into the sniper zone. That's one way. And you get it back in insurance. But insurance was kind of broken. So people were like nervous to do that. Because you used to just like, you run into the border snipers and they like turbo zero out your armor.
Right.
But obviously, one neck shot will zero it with the border snipers, probably. I mean, Aramid has like crazy durability because of the modifier. So I don't know. It's hard. But like to get them to hit you, you have to get them to hit you in the neck, right? So it's like annoying. I didn't verify whether you could minefield yourself, because I feel like that might work, but I can't remember.
It
I don't
did
really know.
in the past, but I don't know if it works now. Is the question?
Yeah, because I think it hit like all your hitboxes, maybe. So that was like maybe a way of doing that.
Okay.
I don't know. So anyway, I didn't test that either, but all of it is completely unnecessary and a moot point because a bunch of people have all been telling BSG like, "Come on, fix this." This is like actually ridiculous. It took to get the Zabrallo down. It takes like a team of 5 people to like max out factory and then take turns like shooting each other and like healing, and it's awful. Like it's just an awful experience.
Yeah.
It's just terrible. So they've fixed it. They've like temporarily like hot patched it in a like just a short term way, which is that they have bugged the quest themselves now. So that you can turn in any armor for the under 50% one. It doesn't matter what it is. They've just made it like, well, it's weird. Yeah, they've made the 0 to 50 accept any armor at all. And I was like, I had a sudden fright because I had an under 50% one, weirdly, but I hadn't got to the quest yet. And I got to the quest, and I handed in the under 50% one, and it handed in my 100% Gazelle, and then I couldn't hand in the 100% Gazelle. And I was like, what have I done? I wasn't really sure what I did, right? Because I like clicked the 50% one and pressed go. And then the option to hand the other one in disappeared. And I was like, oh crap, have I done something? Like, what have I done here? And everyone's like, oh, you handed in the 100 for the 51, but now you've only got the under 50 for the 100. And after about 30 seconds of me just sort of like losing my mind, I was like, oh, I can just repair it. So literally just like I just repaired it and then handed it in. But for like there was a split second of just like, oh my god, I like blocked myself off. I was like, oh no, what happened? What happened? Because it was like checkmark on both of them. And I clicked the button and then the checkmark disappeared and I was terrified. But yeah, the one after that, the Zabrallo one, they've done the same for that one. But that has its own problem that they've removed all the Zabrallo barters. So it's one of the big changes to the barters. You used to do the mechanic like phased array one at mechanic 3. That's gone. One. All the other ones are also gone. There is now one. It's on prep or 4, and you have to complete booze to get access to it. And that's booze is after booze is level 50.
Yeah,
and it's after long line. And long line is level 45, or at least it used to be. I don't know whether it still is, but
long line's the one where you had to kill. Wait, what is long line?
Interchange PMC kills in the ball.
Yeah, I remember that one. Yeah. I remember.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that quest is like, how do you get past it? Other than like have a friend who's level 50.
Like you can't really.
Yeah. Which sucks, right? Because aren't you
Yeah.
kind of like stuck behind a bunch of Ragman quests?
Yeah, I can't remember like what comes after. I don't know because they've changed the order on loads of this stuff, so I'm not sure. But not so good 3 is it?
Wait a
At
minute.
least what it says on the wiki, which I'm not sure. So good 4 is the Wartech rigs and the Black Rocks, and then you've got Charisma Textiles 1 and 2, and then the other line is Living High. So you can't do Living High either, or Living High 2, which is a requirement for network provider. So yeah, you're kind of stuck. You can't get Lightkeeper. So it's actually quite annoying. It's an annoying gatekeep, that one.
Yeah.
But yeah, like the only other way to get Zabralo without being level 50 is either to know somebody or to get one off like Ragman's like guards or something like that's not Ragman. Vishala, Ragman.
Yeah. Yeah.
Vishala's guards.
Yeah, that'd be the other way.
Which like but the bosses are 10% or whatever
Yeah.
right now. So like really and it's not very often that you get one either.
Yeah.
For
Yeah.
Zabralo. So it's really hard to do that quest now. Like it's actually really tough. Even with the fix, it's really difficult.
Yeah.
Um
Yeah, I mean, I guess they wanted to play it safe and put, or maybe that was just part of the plan. They just want to make things more restrictive in general. So they put it so high up on a lockout gatekeep level 50 just to kind of like that's what they want to do, or as a safeguard, and then not really thinking about that quest in particular. You know, even the gazelle, can you even acquire a gazelle from Ragman or anybody?
So the funny thing now, they don't need to be fine. Do they need to be fine raid? I think they do, don't they?
I honestly don't know,
Or do they
dude.
not? No, I don't think they do.
I
Do
don't
they?
think so, because you could
No,
do
I
the
don't think they do.
barter, right? Yeah.
So the difference now is that you can buy. I've had loads of them off scavs in fairness, but you
Okay.
can buy the gazelle on the fleet because you can buy all the armors on the fleet
Right.
except for the Zabralo.
Oh, interesting.
I don't know why you can't buy the Zabralo. You might not be. I wonder if you could buy the Thor. I'm not actually sure, but like they unlocked almost all of them except for like the Zabralo and like maybe the Thor. Let's see. Yeah, you can't buy the Thor either. There's like a couple of these like the really, really big ones that I don't think you can get. And the Reduce T5 you can't get. And I wonder if the Gen 4 full. Yeah, the Gen 4 full you can buy. So yeah, I think there's those 3. I think. I haven't checked through everything, but everything else you can buy on the fleet because all the Gazelle is now, which we're nearing the time where we're gonna have to talk about some armor stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But all the Gazelle is now is a modular plate carrier with some requirements around what it can take in terms of plates themselves with class 3 base. That's all it is. Because you can't sell class 5 and 6 plates on the flea, with the exception of side plates. You can't sell front and back class 5 and 6 plates on the fleet, so you can't sell the carriers with them in either. So the default Gazelle, you can't sell that with the plates in on the flea because they're class 5, so it won't let you. So you can only sell it empty or with class 4s in, family raid, obviously. And that means that you can actually complete that quest relatively easily because, like in the current form, because you can buy the armor and you can buy it under 50 because a lot of people, it comes under 50 a lot of the time because people have either got it off scav scuffed or they've shot the scav with, like I had a couple where I shot the scav with piranha. That was where mine came from because I shot the scav with piranha and I shot in the neck area and it was like 7 out of 14 on the neck. So it would have worked anyway, I think. But it was close enough. So you can do it and then you can buy one that works off the flea. Or at least you could have. So that would have been doable. But yeah, the Zabralo one's like annoying. But you can get loads of stuff. I wonder like when the flea's going to calm down because it's weird. I actually like this is actually kind of a funny story. I screwed myself out of about 10k because I got a slick from Ragman from one of these random interchange quests I was doing. But the slick sucks now for reasons which are probably obvious, but I'll talk about it in a bit more of a structured way in 2 seconds. But the slick itself has got 2 class 6 plates in it, right, front and back, which is kind of neat. And I think there's some of the more like better ones. They're quite heavy, but they're called. I think they're called. Oh no, okay. They're called like Titan something. Where are they? Oh, here it is. Sorry, it's KA Steel. Yeah, there we go. Kibber Arms Steel Ballistics, like class 6.
Okay.
And they're 5.1 kilos, but they're classic plates, which is pretty sick. But the slick itself is just not very good. But you can sell the slick like carrier on the flea. And I've always been like, why are people selling these things or buying these things more specifically off the flea? And I still don't really know why people are buying it like that much. But I was like, well, the prevailing market for the slick is like 155k or something on the flea market, whatever. I'll sell it for 145. Like some mug's gonna pick it up for that. I'm gonna defraud them, whatever. I'm like feeling big brain, like 400 IQ play.
Yeah.
Until I realized that one of my like Twitch chatters has bought it, and he was just like, "GG, it sells for 155k to Ragman with no plates in it," and I was just like, "Oh damn!" So I like screwed myself out of 10k, like not realizing because I just didn't think. I was just like, "This thing is like worthless," but Ragman still pays like quite a decent amount for it. Just quite funny. So there's like a base value which I hadn't appreciated for some of these like higher tier ones. But yeah, I mean, I stripped the plates out and then put them in something better. But armor. Where to even begin? Dude, like I don't know. It's weird, right? There's lots of testing going on. Probably less so now because I think everyone's a bit exhausted. And there's lots of weird stuff. So Airwing did loads of penetration testing, found some weird results. I did a bit. Didn't actually find that many weird results because I was using a certain subset of ammos and whatever. It seems sort of normal. And then he was doing like tons more. He was doing like, he was doing like full streams of like testing and whatever. So I was like, look, he's doing so much of that. I won't bother as much about that because like, he's got so much data or whatever. Like I'm going to redoing all the stuff that he's already doing. Seems kind of like a waste of time from a sort of community perspective. And like, also, I'm behind anyway. So it's kind of, from a selfish perspective, it's just like, well, I don't want to do the same thing, but like late.
Yeah.
Like, what's the point of that? So I focused on other stuff for the video that I did with the help of, all the guys in Discord, Space Monkey particularly, who was very useful for like figuring out stuff and like looking at hitboxes and whatever. Just like trying to understand like how it all works. And I think like the stuff that I think we were looking at like, more of the hitbox type situations, which was better because most of the bugs seem to appear in the actual like plate sort of interaction mechanics with bullets, as opposed to where you're hitting. That seems to work relatively well, and we ended up coming to some various interesting conclusions, or at least like proving out the conclusions of the system. So I guess like broadly, it's probably best to talk about it in the context of something useful, which I sort of regret not doing in my video. It's probably, I think it's probably too early, but I think it's more useful for this type of format for like this cast anyway for ScavTalk. So I've been writing out a lot of stuff in spreadsheets, as you can probably imagine. That's not unusual for me. But I have a list of all the plates and I have a list of all the armor and various factors. So like the spreadsheet is now huge. It used to be much smaller, but obviously there's a lot more to think about. So there's like lots of different categories of things, and the Venn diagram is like very wide. But one of there's a couple of pockets of important things to think about, and then if you filter through those, you kind of get to the list of like the meta armors.
Okay.
And I was originally going to complain about like how the armor system seems so good, but ultimately it ends up just reducing us down to like no choice because lots of the armors are just bad. But I actually, after looking through, I don't think it's necessarily true. I think it's true for a subset of the armors, but I don't think it's necessarily globally true. But anyway, you'll see my reasoning. So to start with, one of the very first things for me at least is the soft armor system.
Yeah.
Which is interesting. So you've got like a couple of tiers of different things. You've got armors that are just inbuilt armor. There's no plates. And those range from class 2 to class 4. The ones that are class 3 and lower, I think are of limited value from a sort of meta perspective. They're okay early. They cover everywhere they say they cover because of the soft system. The soft system is like the old system. It covers everything that it says, but the hitboxes are more granular. So you have nothing that covers like the sides of the thorax, for example. Like nothing ever can cover that. It is never listed as an armored part. Armpit is like a sort of subset of that hitbox, it seems. Like those parts just can never be covered. But you take some of these soft armors, for example, and ones that give more protection, like the Ulay, which is basically the top of that tier, the Ulay 6B5, which is the class 4 Ulay, the old class 4 Ulay. that is like the best you can get in the pure inbuilt armors, because that one is class 4 everywhere except the neck, but it has a neck like protection on it of class 2. So that gives you like, in the plate system, you've got plates in the middle and then a soft armor around the outside. The Yule has no like modular plates, but it is kind of plates, which is why it's class 4. Because when you mount almost all the soft armor in the game is aramid. Let's put it this way. Whereas for a couple of them, the rat rig, the Yule,
right,
the other Yule, the crappy Yule, the Kurakulon and the Untar, and the Flora actually, those have got some like weird inbuilt material, which seems to act just like the old system. So for the Yule, which we've been talking about specifically, that one says like ceramic armor with aramid like components or whatever. So it seems to just act like ceramic. But it's class 4. And because it's class 4 everywhere, you have the full thorax and all the back protected. Like, so back, all the back bits and all the thorax bits, that's all protected by class 4. That one, you also have groin protection, which protects the bottom section of the stomach, which is actually kind of like the legs. So the groin protection and the buttocks goes to the stomach as well. The stomach now having 6 hitboxes because the thorax is front, back, left, right. Stomach is front, back, left, right. But also groin and buttocks. There's kind of 6 for the stomach. And this gives you that protection from the front. But it's all class 4. So no matter where you hit on any of those parts that are protected, it's class 4. So it's kind of meta. Like I've seen like Terratex has been using it. Like I think for run-of-the-mill raids, I genuinely think it's like the new rat rig. It's like the go-to armor that everyone will just be using because it's class 4 on everything. And it's super cheap. You do one quest for it. I can't remember which one it is off the top of my head. You do one quest for it and it then costs you 64k. Like it's cheaper than the rat rig used to be. I don't know whether anybody noticed about the rat rig, but the rat rig sucks because the rat rig's class 4 at the front, no neck armor, and class 2 at the back, which is quite painful. So it's really awful from behind. You only get you get chest and groin at 4, but you get back and groin rear at class 2, and this and no neck. So that's pretty rubbish. So I think the Yule from the built-in stuff is really good. Then you've got the replaceables type armors. That's basically like a 2-tier system. Kind of, for the most part. That's like you can put in plates from 4 to 6, and the soft armor is either going to be 2 or 3. So the tier 2 soft armors, I just don't think are going to be meta. The one that you're going to want is the tier 3 soft armor.
Yeah.
Like I think in terms of like endgame meta, like the Yule is not going to help you because the Yule works like the old system for armor. So anything above 37, like basically 40 pen, you're just going to die. So once everyone's got access to 56A1 and M80 and whatever, the Yule is not going to help. So I think the Yule is kind of like early to mid game, like meta, but partly just because of the ammo restrictions as well. But like late game, it's still just going to suck. So the things you're going to want then is you're going to want armors with class 3 soft armor that have replaceable plates on them. The class 2 ones are just not going to be good. But you want class 3 and you want neck. Because if you have a class 3 soft armor, then you have class 3 neck as well. So that certainly helps against scavs because there's not really much like picking and choosing across the other armors. It's like it's either all 2 or it's all 3, which is quite intriguing. So when you drill that down, so you're saying, okay, I got my thing open. So I will say, fine, you've got class 3 protection. There's also you've got this like range. I wonder actually. I feel this might be mutually exclusive. So if I just like check only things with neck, then it actually removes them all. But there are a bunch of armors with like no soft armor at all, which I think is terrible. And they don't have any armor outside of the hip, like the plate at all. It's literally just a plate carrier. There's a couple of those. It's like the Eagle Allied MBSS, the Hex Attack, the SNS Precision, one of the Goon ones, the Tasmanian Tiger SK, my old favorite armor that's now completely useless, I think, and the Hex Grid. So there's 5 that have no soft armor whatsoever, and they're just plates. But the plate hitbox is smaller than the thorax hitbox, so you can just be, one-tapped by all sorts of garbage around the outside of your thorax hitbox. So I think that these are like borderline useless. There's a subset of like other ones that are like this that I think are latent, also garbage.
Yeah.
Which are armors that have soft armor, but when you drill down into the information, the soft armor only protects the plate area 2. So an example of this is, let me see. Let's
Eagle
take a
and
look here.
MMAC.
MMAC, Strandhog, there's a whole bunch. Tagilla Rig, the Slick, they're all like this. And they have aramid on the plate area. And then you put plates in also on the plate area.
Right.
So you still have 0 on the thorax around the outside. So you can just be shot by whatever, Magnum Buck, and then 2 pellets go out just outside of the plate and you die, which I think is just awful. I just don't think anyone wants to run these, right? It's pointless. So you have to be a bit careful about that. You can tell because, I mean, I said it in the video, but if you mouse over the, if you mouse over the armor areas, it just says, on the other one, it just says like front plate, back plate. There is no mention of thorax and back. So with the plates in, with the plates out, it always says like the plates hitbox. So that's aramid covering the plate only and not the thorax. You just have to be careful. Like, I just think those suck as much as the ones with none.
Yeah.
There's a quirk that was in Airing's video about this, which is that aramid that covers the plate hitboxes from his testing acts like a piece of hard armor, which means that it obeys the like fairly widely known rule now, which we figured out like it's kind of the rule number 1 about plates, which is that if a plate protects you, it passes through 0 blunt. So you just literally don't take damage, which is sort of interesting. So if you have a plate of layer class 4 and then you have the aramid underneath, if it goes through the class 4 and the class 2 stops it, you still take nothing, but you're relying on the class 2. So I still think it's a very niche. I think it's an interesting theoretical case, but I think practically speaking, I just don't think it matters.
Yeah.
Maybe it does in some very specific scenarios, but if it's getting through the 4, it's probably getting through the 2, despite the damage reduction and pen reduction. Maybe there'll be some cases that it turns out after all the testing that it'll end up being important. I'm not really sure. So so in my mind, like soft armor of class 3 at least, neck protection, yes, because you don't want to just get buckshotted by scavs, because if you don't have neck protection, you have to make up for it with the helmet somehow, and you can do that. There's like the Mandalorian Trooper mask. There's like this new, I can't remember what it's called. There's the shark sort of neck piece thing. There's a few ways you can get like neck or specifically throat, which is the front part. Neck is split into 2. There's like neck at the back and throat at the front.
Right.
There's the helmets that you can protect throats. You can kind of make up for it, and you don't necessarily need neck. But I would say that the only let's see. I think I don't think there are any class 3 soft armors with replaceable plates that don't have. Oh wait, no, sorry, I'm looking at the wrong column. There are a couple actually. There are a couple. There's like the I know maybe it's only one. I think it's literally the Thor, the little Thor. The what's it called? I can't remember what it's called now. It's called like concealable or whatever. It's like the actual body armor vest, that Thor. The Thor's kind of weird because it comes like it's the default for level 4 armor in our mind, but it comes with class 3 as opposed to 2, which is quite unusual. So sometimes you can buy it with class 4 plates in it, but it's class 3 soft, which is quite good. But yeah, it has no neck. I think that seems to be the only one. The other ones that are coming up on my list are only like that because it's like the DRD Packer or the Core Kulon or the Untar or something, which I still think are like strictly worse than the Ulay, because class 2 on the neck is okay if you're just going class 4 everywhere else. Anyway, so needless to say about that. So if you want class 3 soft armor with replaceable plates and the neck, that only leaves 10 armors, which is the it's the old Juk 6A, which is now called the Juk Digital because it doesn't have plates in it. The 6A designation only made sense when it had plates in it because that was like an armor protection rating, but now it's empty. The Reduce T5, which is the samurai armor, all 3 of the Gen 4s, the Reduce M, the Killer, the protective version of the Osprey, the Defender 2, and the Gazelle. So of those ones, there's like the Reduce T5 and the Gen 4 full have like horrible move speed. They're like 13.5% and 8%. Because what makes it complicated now is when you look up any of these armors, they have plates in them already. So because I don't have any of the armors, what I did was I went through and I looked at the stats and then I minused all of the plates for move speed, turn speed, and ergo, that was painful. That took me ages. And so they still got like quite bad stats. So if you take out the ones with the terrible stats, then There's Gen 4 full and the T5. Then you've got just these 8 left. The Juk, Reduce M, Gen 4 Assault, Killer, Gen 4 Gen 4 Mobility, Osprey, Defender, and the Gazelle. And I think those are like the 8 like meta armors, in my opinion.
Say those again. Sorry.
I think those are so it's like so it's the Juk Digital,
Mm-hmm.
the Reduce M, the Gen 4 Assault, and the Gen 4 Mobility, the Killer armor, the protection version of the Osprey, the Defender 2, and the Gazelle. I think these like those 8. I think that they're the meta armors. To be totally honest with you, because
Yeah.
they have soft class 3. Because like
Right.
late game, you're going to want like class 5 or 6 plates in these things.
Yeah. Yeah. And you're gonna
So
want the class 3 soft plates for like,
and with neck.
Yeah, and with neck. Yep.
Yeah, because it means it'll protect you against like the most stuff if you get shot in the neck. You can even layer that in theory, but like I think
You
that's going to be
could.
good. And 2 of these I think are probably the best, which is the Osprey and the Gen 4 Assault, because they actually both
Yeah.
have shoulder protection.
Yeah.
So right now that's my go-to. Like they have everything else that all the others have. The groin protection doesn't really matter. There's like a whole bunch of them that have groin protection, but I just don't really care so much.
I don't think
But these guys
so.
have got shoulder, and shoulder can help. It's only class 3, but it helps to like mitigate some damage on the arms.
Yeah.
It can help with like multi-pen through the arm
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's
and into the
true.
chest,
That's
because we were
true.
testing that, because that's annoying. I don't know what's changed this wipe with that exactly. I don't know whether this is the same as last wipe, but it matters more now, because previously you'd get pen through the arm and you'd still have class 5 underneath on the chest, so it wouldn't matter. Whereas now you get pen through the arm from the side and it just goes into like nothing, and that's the problem. So you have like it seems to be, when we tested it, we couldn't get M855 to go through the arm. We couldn't get SOST to go through, and we couldn't get 762 PS to go through. But M995 will. PP will for 762. So it seems that the pen
Just the
threshold seems to
naked
be at
arm?
40. Yeah, just the naked arm, and also through the armor. But yeah,
Right.
with the naked arm, we couldn't get it to work with any of those under like the 35 and under. So maybe it's like above 35, maybe it's above 40. It's like around that threshold. But once you get to that threshold, it just goes through every time. You do damage to the arm, and then you do damage to the chest subsequently, with some damage reduction, even just going through the naked arm. But it's like you'll still the high damage ammos, you'll still die in 2 shots to the side of the chest, which is crazy.
We die in 1 with M80?
Not with M80. Well, you shouldn't.
Oh, because the damage reduction is so low.
Well, M80 only does 80 anyway.
Right. But
So
you would instantly black the
shouldn't.
arm, and
You'd
then
black the arm, and then the chest
15.
would take like whatever, 65 damage or something. So it'll 2-hit you.
Oh, because you're hitting the chest, which is going to get reduced by aramid, you're saying? Or what are you... I'm not following.
No, like nothing. Literally nothing.
Oh,
the arm
there's
damage,
a reduction for going through the arm.
There's a reduction just through the arm.
I get you.
Yeah, so it's not like, because I see what you're saying, because the arm is like your Church is talking about. I think I'm sort of reading between the lines here, but I think I know what you're talking about, because I've looked at this myself, which is, so the arm has 60. Church is saying like the M80 gets 80 damage, goes through the arm with 60, blacks it, distributes 20 across the rest of the body. The thorax is 85 over 380, because it doesn't include the black arm anymore. That makes it 22.3% of the rest of the body. The spillover damage was 20 damage, so you get 4.47 points of damage onto your thorax. The 80 then propagates through from the M80, not propagates, but like the bullet continues on, hits the thorax for 80, adds to the 4 point. I mean, actually, it wouldn't work in this case, but adds to the 4.47 and like maybe kills you or whatever. Like I get where you're going from. That would work with like maybe LPS or something, or like BT or PS for 760 54. No, that might work, but there's damage reduction through the arm, so that doesn't happen. Like it'll only happen for a very specific subset of bullets, like maybe like PS12B.
Yeah,
that might do it. That might one shot you through the arm, stuff like that. So it's got to be quite high damage. It's got to be like quite a bit more than 80 to make it work. But yeah, either which way, it's like kind of weird and kind of interesting how that functions, and the class 3 can like help prevent against that. Like it doesn't stop the like there is no, because of the way that the soft armor works, the shoulder hitbox is just the shoulder hitbox. And if they hit the side of the chest, it just hits the side of the chest, right? There's nothing that protects against that. But it does help a little bit to stop stuff from going through and like killing you, maybe. I mean, maybe it saves you against like certain high power rounds that are around the threshold. Maybe it saves you against PS. I don't know. I'm not sure. Because damage reduction is more lenient than like pen, for example. Like PS will definitely go through class 3 in the old system, but it'll get damage reduced probably by class 3, even though it's like 90% chance to go through. It's like one interesting quirk of the damage reduction system is it's more lenient on pen. So that's like one weird quirk. I guess the other weird quirk that I should mention is that, yeah, there've been, like, as Airing has shown, there are multiple instances where you do exactly that, something along those lines, and then they just die. Sometimes you just shoot them with the M80, they just die.
Yeah.
And this sort of comes, there's two prevailing theories right now, and maybe both are true. One of them is about fragmentation. No one really understands fragmentation anymore. We talked about it a long time ago. I was talking to CZTL again because he was probably the only person who did like really in-depth testing about fragmentation back when it was like screwed, and no one's really looked at it since because no one could figure out what was going on. And the understanding, basically, as far as we got to as a community, was fragmentation can't happen on PMCs versus PMCs to the thorax and to their head. And maybe not to the stomach either. It only happens on limbs. Maybe it does happen on stomach. I can't remember now. But it was like, yeah, legs and arms definitely, thorax no. But it can happen from you to scavs, and it can happen from scavs to you. Fragmentation, which that's weird. And it was also not 1.5 times always. It ranged somewhere between 1.4 and 1.9, depending on the bullet. And that the fragmentation chances on the wiki also were just like not what you saw in practice. That was the last sort of thing that we understood about it, but it was like a mess and just confusing, and like nobody could be bothered to look into it properly, right? Because no one knew what was going on. So now we're back with this wipe. Now it's like, okay, well, is fragmentation back? Is it bugged? Are people like having rounds to the thorax frag now? Like, does it only frag because the plates are there? Like, is there something else going on there which is causing it? Like, so Airing thinks it's fragmentation that's causing these one shots. I think it's multi-hitbox, but neither of us know, and neither of us like have enough proof either way. Like he said, I don't know what his proof is, but he said to me on Twitter at least that he has enough evidence to point towards like that it might be fragmentation. I'm not sure exactly what that is, so I can't really opine on that. But I have evidence also from what I've seen. Lots of people getting killed from the front through chest back and stuff, which is like, why would you be getting killed on the back hitbox?
I've seen that.
Like, there's lots of people reporting that, and I'm like, that sounds like the hitbox problem to me. So I think it's like the same round interacting with two hitboxes because of the number of extra hitboxes. There's an very interesting test which came about by accident, which also makes me think that this might be the case, especially with the head. And this is why it's interesting following this on from the barbed wire thing. So APSX, right? You remember we talked previously, like we've talked about APSX multiple times in the past. APSX does precisely 35 damage. It is the only bullet in the game to do so. Express Buckshot also does that per pellet, but it's hard to make sure you only get one pellet on target. So APSX was like the perfect testing bullet for helmet stuff because it could never kill a player, ever. Unarmored, armored, didn't matter. Like you had to shoot 2 bullets of APSX through someone's head for them to die, always. That also like was one of the reasons why fragmentation on heads was debunked, because you could shoot someone in the head a million times. Like it says 10% on the wiki, but it never frags when you hit them in the head. They never, ever, ever die. And me and Sad28 did loads of testing on Ricochet with this round in particular, because you didn't have to load into co-op offline every time it didn't happen. And it's like, it's a 50% Ricochet chance on Condors and all this stuff. Anyway, we come around to this wipe. This is, I feel like this is tying in so many elements. So Sad is a big grinder. He's like one of the bigger grinders that I'm like most friendly with, and most friends with on sort of like out of my like Discord community or whatever. Like he talks to me all the time about like his progress and tells me like tidbits about what's coming up, which is like cool. It's interesting. It's good having like somebody who's grinding like that to tell me stuff. So that's fun. Anyway, he gets to sow it good part 3 with the Zabralo early, like earlier than other people.
Okay.
And he's succumbing to the same problems that all the other guys who are like rushing to Kappa have got. And so comes to me to ask for my opinion on what bullet they should use. So I'm like, well, you should use APSX because as per the testing, right, you shoot in the neck, it'll never kill you. So you should be able to, like, if anybody's got any, like obviously you can't buy it, but if anybody's got any, then you should be able to use it to zero out the armor. And also the pen and the armor damage percentage are also really high. Those two things are super interlinked. The durability damage that you do is a combination of the two. So they both need to be high. Like armor damage percent on its own is useless without pen, and pen is useless without armor damage percent. So I was like, go and use that. 15 minutes later, he's just like, yeah, it killed me. I was like, huh, that is interesting. And somebody else like had to take the armor out and come back in, and they did it a couple of times, and yeah, they died. They died every time. So I was like, that is very weird. So as part of the testing that we were doing, and like I haven't released any content on this yet because like it's a tidbit of random info at the moment, but it could be important. We had some APSX and took that in, and yeah, even from say like we had an LCAN on an MP7, and we went like 40 meters away or something, instant kill. Shoot someone in the arm, 34 damage. Hit them in the head, even unarmored, instantly dead.
Yeah.
And I'm like, man, this is like multi-hitbox pen, right? It must be, especially with like, so once you've got above 40 pen, it's going through limbs for a start, arms into chest. Like, surely this is the same for the head. It must be that that's the most direct evidence that I have that it's multi-hitbox is APSX. You know what actually would be quite an interesting thing would be to use APSX to shoot the thorax. I haven't tried that. And that would be interesting
like
because if you can hit 70,
thorax?
yeah, or like even or with plates or whatever, because it's going to go through everything. If you can hit 70 on someone in one hit, that basically proves multi-hitbox almost exclusively. I mean, yeah, maybe it's frag, but like if frag appears on APSX, you'll also see it and they won't die. So actually, that's a really good test. This has been a good brainstorm. So anyway, so that's my evidence that it's multi-hitbox. We did try some other stuff as well. On Lighthouse, we were using M855A1. That would not kill you over 100 meters in the past because of the damage reduction over time through a class 4 helmet. And so the combination of pen, it's like it's such a complicated, like, you know, you need a degree in astrophysics to like make this all make sense. But it's like, because the two things are combined, right? It's like a tier 4 helmet, as you go further away, the pen gets lower. So that means the damage reduction gets more actually. And so, but the damage is also getting less at the same time. So it gets like worse and worse, right? So you go from 0, which is the original damage, the original pen, you go to 50 meters, the pen is lower, so the damage reduction is higher, but the actual base damage is also lower that's getting reduced. So it's like they're both going in the same direction. So you get to 100 meters, the pen is low enough on M855A1, and the damage is low enough for then the damage reduction to reduce it below 35. And you never used to be able to do that. We went to interchange, and I got space to shoot me with M855A1 and shot me at 600 meters, straight kill. I was like, there's like quite interesting stuff. But there was instances on Lighthouse when we were shooting that I didn't die. So I took a headshot through class 4. Actually, I took a headshot and the helmet was undamaged, actually, in this instance. And I had 10 health left at like 650 meters. So it did 25 damage to my head from like a million miles away without the helmet. And then after that, I got a Jaws shot and died from the same distance with the same bullet. So it's like the whole thing is weird. And I think it depends on exactly how it goes. I know there's No Food posted something on his Twitter. Let me see. Here it is. He posted something saying, do, 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 do. Where's he gone? I wonder if it was in a reply to somebody. It must have been in a reply. Here it is. Yes, it was in a reply to the Friendly Guy, because Friendly Guy he was just talking about like, people getting one tap by all sorts of random stuff from terrible ammo and getting hit in the back and blah, blah, blah. And No Food replied to him and said, I suspect it has to do with fragmentation and the new hitboxes. So he kind of like put a foot in both camps. Alternatively, it's rare cases where bullets are hitting the chest first/last and penetrating the neck hitbox, which is also in the upper chest area, and the resulting screen shows the first/last hitbox. Either way, I can't replicate it in any tests. So he's kind of like, sort of in the same boat,
right?
Where he's like, I think it might be this, it might be that, it might be the other. I can't make it. I can't replicate it anywhere. I don't really know what's going on. it's just it's very very weird. And the guys at Tarkov Ballistics, who are the people that I usually use their website for like damage reduction over distance and pen reduction over distance, because they've got all the calculators and whatever. And they're like, they actually just posted, I think it was today or yesterday, where they posted an update basically being like, we're not updating any of the site until we know what's actually happening, because it seems to just be broken at the moment. Yeah.
I feel like that's the only conclusive thing right now is like something is amiss. And it's likely, I think it's likely unintended. I just feel like it makes the most sense. It's a new feature, it's a relatively sizable change. And as far as I'm aware, there wasn't like an official ETS testing. Maybe there was. Of course, they have their own testers, but you know what I mean? It's like you go from like a team of, I don't even know, 20 testers, 50 testers, 100 testers. I don't know what these look like, to like a player base of 300,000. It's just like, so I think it's
crazy.
Likely a bug. And the unfortunate part is it just kind of feels like the only, I don't know. It just doesn't really feel good. It just, everything's kind of screwy. Because there's like another issue, or if however you want to slice it, and kind of separate, is like, which I think you mentioned briefly, is plates just like sometimes absorb M61, which is like, okay, and it's like you take no damage. the plate takes damage, like, the durability, but how does that work? And it's like a class 3 or class 4 plate, I should add. That's the important caveat. So like based off that, I mean, I've been prioritizing headshots like crazy, because it just feels like nothing. I unlocked M80 and I kind of realized, oh wait, is this even going to be worth using? Because like, if they're wearing plates and I hit them dead center, I might not do damage. I might do damage. Exactly. I don't know. The system's bugged. I'll tell you what's reliable is good old head eyes. That one's never let me down.
Exactly. That's good. And all helmets are, well, the bug right now seems to be that, headshots that used to not happen. Like, I actually don't really mind the headshot thing if it is a bug, because, I've been rallying for BSG to change the headshot system in some way. I don't care how they do it, such that when a round penetrates the helmet, the wearer of the helmet dies immediately. Like, I don't know how they do it. Change the head HP to 30, increase the, like, put a damage multiplier on it, whatever, right? Whatever they need to do to make it work. Like, all of this, like, M85501 only will kill you if you're under 100 meters on a pen through class 4. Like, it's bullshit, dude. Honestly, it's bullshit, and it shouldn't be in the game. Like, it's so dumb.
Yeah.
It's one of the things that makes people not want to run like intermediate caliber for sniping, because it sucks. Like, it's so stupid.
Yeah.
Like, the pen chance should be enough. The pen chance should be enough. It's like, if you can pen with a rifle bullet, it's an AP round, and it pens through the helmet, they should freaking die. I don't care. So like, this bug, I actually like. If you, it seems like most of the time now, if you pen with like high pen ammo, to almost every helmet, you just instantly die, no matter how much damage you're supposed to do now. Like, I actually think the outcome is quite good. So like, even if it's bugged hitboxes or whatever, I think it actually makes sense for the head. But yeah, for the thorax, it's a bit weird. And I've done like some testing, because like, the one that really got me was the 6B23-1, which is it's the armor that you blast for the propane. It's that one, the green one, the old green class 3, steel armor. That's the one that got me, because that's the one with the like 2-part plate. It's got the square at the bottom and like the triangle on top. And people keep talking about that one, like absorbing shots. Like, I've seen it so many places. So I was like, and I've seen it in Airwings thing, where I saw firsthand tower shooting like 5 times with like T45 out of a AKM. And this thing just like tanking like a beast. It's like class 3 steel. It's just like mental, right? So I was like, okay, I don't know what's going on here. This is absolutely insane. It's like, I did some testing, like even more testing. This hasn't even made it into any content or whatever. I was just like interested to see what was going on. And there's some crazy results. But honestly, it's just really nutty. So like, let's put it this way: where was the most insane test? I think it was where are you? Where have you gone? That was the Gen 4. That was SMP. First to the 12 plate. What's this one? Here we go. Here we go. Nearly there. Yeah. Okay. So this was 762 BP against good old 6B23-1 class 3 steel plate. It starts at 50 durability. First shot, durability goes to 24. 0 damage to the user. No pen whatsoever. No blunt because it's the plate. Shot number 2, the durability goes from 24 to 11. No pen, 0 damage to the user. So 2 subsequent rounds of BP just completely negated. Like absolutely no, like you wouldn't even have known you've been shot. Third shot, 11 to 0 durability. Pens does take damage. Goes from the base damage of 762 BP is 58. It passes through 49 instead. That's it zeroed. Once it's zeroed, it does the full 58. But like we had multiples of these that was just like crazy, and it's weird because what happened? Like it's just so strange. Like we brought in loads of these things, and it was like the next test, the first shot again did no damage. The second shot the second shot went through the 6B23 plate, but got absorbed by the soft armor or something, and did 15 damage from BP. But that zeroed the plate. Anytime that you had a situation where it absorbed it, it did like double damage to these plates, which was really weird. The next test, it did 14 damage the first time and nothing the second time. But then the plate zeroed, right? After the third test was like, it did 49 damage, it was a full pen, then 15, and then another 47. So it would have taken 3 shots. But yeah, it's just so strange. Like so there was a theory that I saw somewhere, like I can't remember who said it at this point, which was that because plates might be a physical, like, so there's something definitely different, right? The plates do not obey the rules of the old armor system. Something about the penetration mechanics is different. They don't give any blunt damage for a start. The pen is like these armors would never ever protect against BP. Like the percentage chance is like shrinkingly tiny. We're seeing like multiple instances once it's at full HP. The instances where it did like anywhere close to full damage. So we shot 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. We shot it 11 times. At various 10 times, because one of them was actually at 0 just to do a test. We shot it 10 times. There were only 3 instances of full damage done while the plate had durability out of 10. Of the other 7, 4 of them were no damage at all, and 3 of them were 15 damage. So it's like it's crazy, right? That would never happen in the old system, not ever. So the rules are not the same. But yeah, so somebody theorized that the armor plates are like world objects and not pieces of armor, and so they act more like penning through like like a steel wall in factory, or Kibber glass, or glass on labs, and stuff like that, and that they're obeying a different mechanic.
I see.
And then my sort of take on that then is, well, quite clearly there's, rather than the old system, which is you have like 97% chance to pen, the system is much more like bounded. So it's, you only have the maximum pen isn't asymptotically approaching 100%, which is like kind of how it works now, but it's approaching some other value, or like the maximum pen you can ever have is like 70 against anything, right? Like the M993 against class 3 plate can only ever be 80% pen chance, for example. My other suggestion was that in BSG's own notes, they actually said, each armor plate has its own characteristics and blah 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 blah. And it's a damage and material, like hit points, ricochet, comma, other stuff. And when I went back, because I was like reading it, so I could like clip the piece out and put it in the video, and I was like, ricochet? Question mark? Like armor plate? Question mark? So me and Space went to test that. We couldn't get any of them to ricochet at all, even from like the sliciest of like slice. I mean, I don't know how the hitboxes look or even lie. So like, I don't even know if we were shooting, like maybe we were still shooting it at 90 degrees, like dead on. I don't know, because that's kind of how ricochet system works. But we tried a few things. We couldn't get it to ricochet ever. It just looked exactly the same as the other test. So that one's probably out of the calculation. That doesn't seem to be a thing. But I don't know, man. It's really wild. Like there's so much random stuff. So So who knows whether it's like a bug or not? I think plates are probably working as intended. I think the rounds like insta killing you. I think that's probably a bug, either with fragmentation, which I think it's more to do with hitboxes personally than it is about fragmentation. But
Yeah.
I think that's probably a bug, like the multi hitbox hit thing. Maybe. I mean, maybe VSG are like, yeah, it's a bad exit wound. I don't know. Maybe they like it. Maybe it's realistic. But yeah, it's all a bit strange. And then there were some other bugs that have like been fixed since, right? Like the press armor was bugged because the front plate was
Right.
it just wasn't parameterized correctly, so it was basically just transparent. It just wasn't interacting with rounds. Like you'd shoot someone on the press armor, the aramid would take damage, but the front plate would just be pristine, so it would just never get damaged because it's. And apparently, I think the right plate, like the right side plate as well, was the same. Like they'd like just messed something up in the setup, I think, of the armor, and so that just wasn't working. It's unfortunate that it's like a level 1 armor, one of the better ones as well, because lots of people were using it.
Yeah.
And, but it's fixed now. That is fixed. Like that does actually work. So that's good. But yeah, the whole thing's like very chaotic, and I think a lot of the people who are looking into this stuff have sort of reached fatigue level with it because, like, I just don't know if there's anything else that we can like glean
Right.
out of what we've seen other than just being like, yeah, you might have a high pen bullet just be absorbed. Using plates, you might just absorb random rounds. If you're using soft armor like Yulei, yeah, you get class 4 everywhere, but you don't have this like class 2 or 3 vulnerability around the edge. But sometimes plates save you. I feel the thing that, so let's put it this way. I think my takeaway on it is that if you just want a run of the mill armor, just run the Yulei because it's more consistent. Armor plates, like they increase the variance a lot on you dying, because if they shoot you, say you're using, you say you're a normal player and you're not at the class 3, unless you use the Thor, but you're not at like the class 3 sort of surround plates yet. If you get hit in the class 2 armor, you're probably dead. If you get hit on the plate, it might just miraculously save you. So sometimes it takes like 8 bullets to kill you, and sometimes it takes 2. So like the plates just like dramatically increase the variance on what kills you and what doesn't. Whereas something like the Yulei is like more consistent. At least you know what's happening with the Yulei. With the plates, it's like anyone's guess. But I mean, that being said, there are like, there are other cool things about the plate system. Like you can defraud plates in raid without getting rid of your carrier, which is quite cool. Like if you're using non like Eastern style armors, then you can replace the front plate with the back plate if it gets damaged, which is also quite cool.
Yeah.
Like the system's like pretty neat. Like I've done a bit of like plate frauding, which is quite fun. You take your plates out of someone and you drop your plates in a bush, but then you pick up someone else's plates to put them back in your own carrier. But like you just leave their rig because the rig itself doesn't matter because you can buy a Karasa. It's just you want their class 4 plates. You put that in your Thor. I've done that before. So I retain my class 3 soft, but I've replaced my 4 plates, which is kind of neat. But there's also lots of constraints on the system, right? Like I was talking about the meta armors beforehand, but like those are pretty much they're pretty much all modular ones, not entirely, because like the Gazelle won't take like a Western Sappy plate in the front, for example. It'll only take a diamond shaped plate at the front. So that's like you have to do some quest for Prapor. I don't even know which one it is. And the same thing with the killer armor. I think that one's got like a very specific set of stuff that you can get. Like one of the weird things is that right now, like the side armor is the earliest like class 5 that you can get. You can get it on Peacekeeper 3. And it's not very much. It's like $75. So it's like 10k for a piece of side armor in. Doesn't protect your thorax, just protects your stomach. But you think like, it's 10k.
Sure.
Like, well, why not? Just stick it in. And I still think I'm unable to buy class 5. I think even now. I'm not actually sure when the first class 5 arrives anymore. I'm actually not sure. Like if I look at the plates, let me have a look at the plates list here. Because I don't actually know what quest it is yet. Oh no, those are the 2 side plates. So yeah, so Rapport 3, you can buy the class 5 steel plate back for the Corund, but only the back. The front for the Corund is a quest. I think they're all quest locked pretty much. Yeah, I think all the class 5s are quest locked, and I don't know which ones they are, which is annoying. Because when they're quest locked, it doesn't tell you which trader level it is either.
Yeah.
And because I don't trust the wiki completely yet for the like later game stuff, I don't really know yet. And it's kind of the same thing for the class 6s. Like there's very few class 6s that you can get, but like the way that you're going to get most of these armors is not by buying the plates. Is you're going to buy the carrier with the plates in it because they come from. I don't think the traders sell any empty armors. You're going to buy like an osprey from Peacekeeper.
Mm-hmm.
And then if you don't want to use the osprey, you're going to take the plates out and then put them in something else you do want to use and sell the osprey. For example. Like I quite like the osprey, but that you know the deal, right? You're going to buy a
Yeah.
slick and take the plates out, sell the slick carrier, and then put the slick plates in an osprey, for example.
Yep.
I think that's probably how it's going to work at the end. But I don't know like what is what yet. So, man, it's a lot. Like it's a lot.
Yeah.
But I think that's it. I think that's most of the things. Like, yeah, as I said, there's a big list of what goes in what, which armors will take what kinds of plates. But for the most part, if you're sticking with like Western style stuff, then it's very easy. And the front and back plates are replaceable. So it's kind of whatever.
Yeah. I mean, it's interesting. Don't get me wrong. I mean, it's not my favorite thing in the world. As I've kind of said before, it's just like,
Yeah.
I mean, ultimately, I wish they would fix, well, I'm sure eventually, whatever's going on, I hope it gets resolved. I hope it's not a feature. I hope indeed it is a bug. But even then, I just don't know if I really like the system. I mean, it's interesting overall, as you said, like the plates and Western, Eastern, and, this whole like, I've actually died once trying to min max and like discard my plates and pick up their plates, but because it's not always easy. Sometimes you got to drop your armor. I mean, you have to drop your armor or put in your backpack one or the other, and it's kind of clunky.
Yeah.
But yeah, I got caught doing that, which I was being extremely greedy, so my own fault there. But
purposefully clunky, I would interject and say it's intended so that you can't just cod it up and just in it goes.
Well, I just think that'd be a better way to go. I mean, I assume that they want to do that eventually, but they being BSG, they can't just have it look, not ultra realistic. Like it can't just be a default animation, right? It has to be unique for every individual play. It has to be very specific to how it, replaces itself and whatnot. So I don't know if that'll ever be the case, but anyways, I don't know. I just don't know if I really like. It's just for me, it just feels kind of bad in general. It's not really my cup of tea, but it is interesting to kind of like look through at all the cool new mechanics and stuff and figure out what works. I mean, I've been using the Karasa a lot with the class 4 ballistic plate that's like ultra polyethylene or whatever.
Yeah, that one's really good. The monoclete.
Yeah, that's it.
That's my favorite one. It's the one that comes default in the Trooper.
Yeah, and it's just like
super light.
Super light, right? And the Karasa with like the plates, those plates in there, weighs like 5 kilograms, I think. It might even be less. And it has like 1 move speed penalty.
Which one was that? Karasa?
Yeah, Karasa with the monoclete.
Karasa base weight is 3. And the monoclete the monoclete plates are 1.35 each. So 2.7 plus 3, so 5.7. Yeah, so it's really light.
Super light, which like I don't even know if previously there was an armor that light in the old system.
Because now you can mix and match them all, right? Which is kind of weird. Do you want to know what's the lightest base armor in the game? Because I was like, surely some of this is just going to be bugged. But I mean, to be fair, it is like just the plate carriers that they just have plates because it's just some straps, dude. Like there's nothing else. It's the hex attack with it's I think it weighs 470 grams or something crazy. But it's like it has no soft armor, so it's just like no soft armor, nothing. It's just straps. You just strap a plate front and back. But there are some that are pretty nutty low now because of the way that it's like been parameterized. Like what's this one? Like the Corund is like 1.9 base, but I think it's because it can only take heavy plates. So it ends up being like relatively heavy overall. That's what I was kind of interested in the ones that are like fully, universal. NFM Thor is like 1.7 base as well. So that's like really low. Sounds also quite cool. So yeah, there's some weird intricacies of the system for sure on that kind of thing because you can like mix and match so much stuff and go like, oh, I have a light plate.
Right.
Yeah, the monoclete plate in, and they're not actually that expensive on the fleet either.
No, and sometimes they're cheaper than because there's a barter you can do on I think it's Peacekeeper 3 for the Night Sky Pass for 1 plate, and you can get 2 per reset. but sometimes they're just cheaper on the flea market. And yeah, I mean the way because of this whole bug feature whatever thing we got going on, it's just kind of like have a good base, right? Like a vest or a rig, whatever you choose. I've been doing the Karasa a lot, and put in the lightest plates in. If you want to splurge and go for class 4, sure, whatever, or what, if you want to get a higher class, whatever. But just make sure they're light and profit, or get screwed, one or the other. Maybe you get shouldered or armpitted or back of thorax. I don't, it's just it's yeah, I don't know, dude. It's just like the firefights, if you don't hit the headies, it just feels really weird. Like it just sometimes you are like a god and you don't take damage. Other times you just like get shredded, and you look at the death screen and it's like collateral chest. It's like, oh, okay. I guess I lost.
Yeah, it kind of sucks. I'm just browsing through the sort of universal, like sort of Western sappy style plates. Because again, like trying to min-max this stuff, I haven't figured out exactly how to do it yet. But I think there's this weird thing of like, you want to look at the plates and then you look at the ones that are good. So I'm looking at the class 5s, for example. There's the GAC 3S15M, whatever that is. Some class 5 like polymer plate, which is 0.97 0.97 kilograms, which is it's a Western style plate with low debuffs. So then you need to go over to the armor and you go, okay, well, what armors have these in by default? Because that's really like there's no barter for them, or no flea thing for them. Like maybe there's a craft, who knows? But like who knows what crafts there's going to be after quests? Because like a lot of the quests are stuck behind quests. But so then you have to go over and look at the armor and say, okay, well, what's the default armors that have this plating? Because that's really the only source I can get it from. And you can get those from the Goons, SNS Precision, the ACPC, the Hex Attack, and the Tac Tech. Those have these GAC 3S15s in. So it's like, okay, well, I need to work towards the barters or purchases for these things.
I see where you're going.
To then strip the plates out to put them in the carrier that I want.
Yeah.
Because I think maybe it's all locked behind stuff. I don't even know. I'm not even sure. Like they've got rid of so much stuff. Like, can you even get the Tac Tech anymore? Can you buy that?
I really don't even know, man.
Because like I've looked through a lot of these, and based on what I had before, like I think you can get the ACPC, but you have to do the quest. I don't even know if you can get it for doing long line anymore. I don't know. I guess you can. But it doesn't even come up. Like, it doesn't come up on the traders. It doesn't come up on the flea.
If it doesn't come up on the flea at all, I say it's not quest locked. It's not a normal trader. Yeah. You just can't get it.
Yeah, because like you can buy the ACPC carrier on the flea from people. But like when I did this original list, I literally just went through the handbook because it's all identified.
Right.
And linked and did an actual search on each one. And if it wasn't on the traders, I said you can't get it. So for those plates, the only one that you could buy is Ragman 4 Hex Attack. The SNS Precision obviously is Goons only. The ACPC seems to be gone completely. The Tac Tech seems to be gone completely. So there's like a lot of stuff that's just like completely gone now, which is interesting. And then for class 6 armor, the ones that are universal, like the Western universal ones. Where can you get these from? Nowhere. What are the light ones? Well, the lightest class 6 plate you can get is, again, the GAC 4SSS2, whatever that thing is. And that comes in the Hex Grid, which you cannot buy. It's weird because like some of these like meta plates are going to be in stuff that you can't even access. So if you find one, like I kind of don't mind. Like I quite like it.
Kind of don't mind.
It's sort of like the system that we were hoping for. That you have to go and find them, but like there's no realistic way to actually find them without just like finding a hex grid in a stash, which is
right. That's kind of my issue.
We need to think. They need to think a little bit more about like sources of this stuff. I mean, this is the first iteration, so fair enough. I don't really mind. I don't think it's not like set in stone as it is right now, but
like honestly, what they did with the ammo boxes, they need to do with plates and armor and backpacks. Well, yeah. I mean, to be fair, I've seen a few backpacks. Like I've seen duffel, the scav duffel bags spawning in MBSs. Like I want like actual backpacks. You know what I mean? Those are like level 1 wipe day backpacks. You know, I want like these new freaking weird combo nations where it's like a 2x3, a 7x1, and like a 4x4 or something. Some of these new backpacks are wild. Like,
They are.
and the penalties are awful. It has 36 slots, but it's got like these weird different things. Awful. Yeah, I don't know, but yeah, I would like that's what I think they need to do. Like maybe it's like a little. I don't even know what armor plates come in, like what they are
I
shipped
think
in,
at the
or
minute, I don't know. Like 'cause right now they just are in stashes. I think. I don't know if you can get them even in. Maybe can you get them in duffels? I'm not sure.
I don't know about. I don't
Yeah,
know about duffels.
I don't
Maybe
know.
spawn
But yeah,
them in
most
the big green crates, or I don't know.
maybe.
Come up
So
with
the
a
whole
new
thing's
thing.
interesting. Like, I'm here. I feel like I'm spider diagramming all the stuff, and I'm just like, okay, well, if I want this class 6 plate, I have to get to this trader level to buy this armor, because then I'm going to buy the armor, and then I'm going to strip the stuff out. And one of the more interesting ones is the cult termite, for example. The cult termite is not purchasable. It is titanium. It is class 6. It goes in Western armors, and but you can so the armor that it comes in is the Tagilla rig. So if you kill Tagilla, you can get one of the unpurchasable class 6 plates. But I was like, this is sneaky, because I was like, oh, look, cult termite, great. But then I realized that Tagilla rig is actually class 6 plate at the front and class 4 at the back. I was like, oh,
Huh.
really? That's the default? Like, oh, come on, guys. Like, like trick me. And I think there might be, I think there's some that are like that. Not so much for the Western ones, but the Tagilla one is like kind of custom. Just sort of intriguing. But yeah, I quite like that. Like, yeah, you have to farm the boss and then you get it from him. I think the only purchasable class 6, really, like you can get the Zabralo late game, as we said before. There's Thor barter, and I don't know where that comes from. So the Zabralo one's very specific because it's the granite BR5s, which is that fits in like some Western stuff, but probably
Okay.
not the ones that you'd want. To be fair, it goes in the Osprey because the granite BR5 is class 6, but it's shaped like a Sappy plate. But it doesn't go in all of them.
Hmm.
It doesn't go in like the Slick, for example, but it will go in the Osprey. So it's kind of weird how some of those things work. So you can get the Thor. Sorry, there's a Brallo and pull the plates out.
Yeah.
The Thor gets like the Nesco 4400. So that's completely universal. So if you can barter for that, then you can get those. The Slick comes with the Kibber Arm Steel, the Hex Grid with this GAC4 SSS things. The Tagilla comes with the Cult Termite. Like, it's just each armor's got its own like plate, which you're thinking like, which one do I want to do to get the do the barter or go and do the boss kill to go and get the thing. And like if you go and do the easy one, which is the Tasmanian Tiger SK, which is the only one that you can. Well, I say that, but like you could. There's another quest, but that's like ESAPI 5, which is ceramic, so it explodes really quickly, like the old stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
But whether that matters anymore, I don't know, because the plates don't
Right.
take that much durability damage, and like so the whole thing's just it's quite interesting.
Yeah. That's
Look, it's interesting in a way that like practically in raid, it's probably not going to matter
that's
that
the
much. But I'm
problem.
interested.
That's the problem for me. Is like realistically, like it's interesting, but like in practicality, is it going to matter? I feel
In
like
practicality, everyone
very.
just run the Ulay.
Yeah, I actually haven't run the Yule yet. Yeah, I need to try it. I really like being that lightweight because with the Karasa being 5, and then the what is that rig called? Is it? It's not Blackhawk. Let me
The
see.
Thunderbolt.
Thunderbolt. Yeah, but that being like 5 grams practically, and I have like virtually like -2 move speed on the Karasa, minus nothing on the helmet for move speed, -1% on the day pack, the LBT, the one that you barter for. What is that? Karund, is it? I think. Anyways, I just have like I was amazed at how fast I was moving. Like it just moves so
Yeah.
fast. But and then it's like, okay, and this is the kind of the issue for my hesitancy to go with the Yule is like, okay, so now I gotta take on these extra weight, extra penalties. But now I'm not getting the RNG roll that will make me invulnerable. It's like it's
Some
like
big
a
bullets,
trade-off. Do I take the RNG roll that make me invulnerable, but also will make me instantly die? Or do I take
It's
the
weird.
more reliable thing, that
Yeah.
also has an innate role where I guess not really role, but you get shot from the sides. It's like no neck. I don't know. Those things kind of like make me worry a bit, but it's just it's
Yeah,
so hard
exactly.
to.
It's that inconsistency, isn't it? And that's the
That's
thing. I
the
feel like
yeah
yeah, it's that thing of if the Ulay saves you from some people, it's going to be better like early. But once it
I
doesn't
think
save you from
so.
anybody,
Yeah.
then you're better off going for the thing with the inconsistency,
Right.
because if you get shot in the class 4 Ulay soft armor or the class 2 or 3 whatever soft
Hmm.
armor, the outcome is the same. It's going to pen. But on the one with the plate, you've got this 20% chance of it just like not, or maybe even 50% chance of it just eating it, versus the Yude where like it just goes through because it's the old armor system. So like, yeah, I see what you mean. It's like as the, if in the thought experiment where everyone's using M995 and BP, you want to be using like whatever sort of garbage thing with the plate on it, right? Just
Right.
any plate, doesn't even matter.
Right.
You can run the 6B23 one propane bar to armor, because you have this like weird 50% chance that it just eats a bullet for no reason at all.
Hmm.
Um, but then you actually probably want one with replaceable things. So you like after the fight, you can put the back plate, put it in the front plate, and then you get the same chance again for the next fight. You're
Yeah.
like almost fresh on the
Yeah.
front.
Which
So like,
is
yeah, I see the point of that.
the problem with the Eastern armors and rigs is that
Mm,
they have a specific style of front plate, sometimes even
yeah,
back plate. Which I found out the hard way. I bought like the killer rig. I was like, oh, this is gonna be really, or the killer armor, and I was like, oh, this could be really good. I'll just put the plates in there. I was like, oh, it takes these plates, and it seems that because the plates are different in their size,
yeah,
the Western, because I was using a ton of the Eastern armor
mm,
early on, because I really liked how it covered the groin and the neck, and had all this extra stuff. But
mm,
because of its shape, it's more of like a diamond with like a sort of ex- extruded bottom end. It gives you more stomach protection at the cost of upper chest protection, like more of your pecs
yeah,
slash aren't like yeah, more of your pecs would be exposed, you could say. Whereas the Western plates, they're more squared and they kind of sit up a bit higher, so you get like better thorax protection at the cost of stomach, which I just felt like
yeah,
is worth. So it's the Killa, the Zuck, the digital Flora Zuck, um, press. Like there's a kind of a lot that have these specific front plates that I think are less than ideal. Like I can't really think of a scenario where maybe factory, like some ultra close quarter map,
yeah. I
maybe.
don't know.
I just other than
You're
that,
still sort of at risk there, aren't you? That's the issue. Again, another reason why I like
yeah,
the Ulay, because that gap doesn't exist on the Ulay,
that's
because it's
true.
just
That's
class
true.
4 all the
Right.
way to the neck.
Yeah.
Um,
I need to get the
like
Yule
early wise.
try, or I need to do it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's good. I mean, yeah, because in that list of 8 that I was talking about before,
Mm,
of the ones with like low debuffs, like some of them are like, yeah, the Gazelle, which it's got very specific plates that it can take.
yeah.
Which again is probably then makes it like not meta. That's probably why. Yeah, that's probably why you end up with the. I think you probably end up with the Gem 4 Assault and the Osprey being the meta armors, because they're Western. They can the front. You have Western plates, so you minimize the thorax. You have the shoulder. You can swap front plates in and out, front back. You can swap them with other people that you meet more easily, because they
Yeah.
probably got even if
That's
you say your
true.
class 6 gets just completely obliterated, you can, and then you kill someone with a class 4, and you can just take the 4 plate, stick it in.
Yeah.
You still got your shoulders, you've still got class 3 elsewhere, you've still got your neck protection. But now it's almost like you can take like the best parts of like what they had and just mix and match that. Like their back plate is undamaged, for example, and you can take their back plate and put it in your front plate, or your back plate and put it in your front plate. It's like almost like, yeah, you're like, it's like best of. It's like the best of case of like 2 people fight and you win. I can now take the best of all of the results. Like I think that is a big part of this. Because then if I get rid of like, yeah, what about the Vidutem? I can't remember about the Vidutem. I mean, it's another Eastern one, so probably one of those ones that won't take like everything. I think. Oh no, maybe it can. I think the Vidutem can just take Western style stuff too. And maybe it can take a bit of combination of everything. Not sure. I know because like the Zabralo's that kind of weird because the Zabralo
Hmm.
has replaceable plates front back. So the granite ones are like they're actually shaped like the Western plates, and they do replace. Like the Zabralo doesn't have unique front and back plates. Like it's complicated. Each armor is like kind of different.
Yeah, it is complicated. And there's not like a good way to figure it out other than link search multiple things and also
Yeah, and
buy
try
an
and write it down and
experiment.
remember and stuff. Yeah,
Yeah.
like I'm forgetting, right? And I wrote them all down in a big list, and it's still for me. I'm still trying to like figure out the information because I'm going back and forth between the armor list, the plate list, what plates are compatible with what armor, and then going back to the armor and going, okay, but then this one's this one's this. Does it still fit in the front and the back? Like it's very complicated.
Yeah, I had made a prediction early on prior to this patch that we speculated, or speculation that maybe because of this inconsistency with the, side being exposed and neck and shoulder, that people may just run the like a hex grid or a slick and like the lightest, cheapest possible plate carrier that literally just holds the plates on you. Um,
Mm.
because splurging for these extra aramid zones just isn't gonna be worth it in the long run. But I think with the way they've done the Ulays, and some of these other ones, but namely the Ulay, I think that's kind of served that role, even though it
Yeah,
doesn't. It's heavy and it has penalties up the wazoo,
and the
but
rig small, but
yeah, but you get a much more consistent experience. Well,
yeah, that's the thing. It's kind of consistent, but anyway, we'll see. I'm gonna carry on fiddling around with it and just see. Like as I get later on, then I'll know what unlocks what as well. Because I still just have to
yeah,
kind of ask people, and I'm not sure about the wiki, so it's just complicated at the minute. It's hard for me to like figure out what's good.
yeah.
That's why I still haven't really done much about it because it's like a no one really knows. The system is really weird, and I don't know what comes later in the progression. So it's a bit tricky.
Yeah, yeah, and I definitely agree. I think Osprey is going to be a pretty good choice. I
Mm.
have one. I used mine for the factory quest on Jaeger or secure perimeter. I used
Oh
that one,
yeah.
and a class 4 helmet for class 4 face shield and a juice cannon, little mini foul
Oh
is fun.
foul. Oh my god.
Yeah,
Did you just destroy? Did you die?
no, I destroyed everyone. I was a god gamer. It's funny because I went and died, because I had to plant the
Oh.
thing, the
Mm.
gunpowders, and there was like 3 of them in the room. And I just
Oh my
opened the door
god.
and blasted them. I wish I hadn't dated.
Did
I
you
realized
breach?
afterward. No, it was already open. They shut it
Oh,
because they
okay.
breached and they were planning. And like one of them was just like, I'm committing to the plan. So he just took it. But yeah, it was hilarious.
I turned up with the minigun.
Yeah, I was
Just
not expecting 3 of them to be in there. And one was like behind the door. It caught me off guard, but thankfully the shoulder, saved me from
mm,
his double barrel. It could have been really bad.
yeah. Yeah, yeah.
Um,
Okay. I think we've got through most of the stuff actually. You had one thing, I know we're going quite long, was you had like one thing about uh this like hack, which is annoying. Let's talk about that in like two. I'm literally gonna just mention two things that I want to mention,
Sure.
and then we could just move on to that, and it's probably our last thing, I guess, unless you've got anything else. But just like two really quick things. Insurance has been broken for ages, and it seems like it's not broken anymore. Everyone's getting back like tons of stuff. I don't know what they did. Maybe some of the expiry stuff BSC pushed back and like re-rolled and like rolled it back out. But people are getting like inventories full of crap
Yeah.
from like from ages ago. So it's hard to fit. Like I don't. I got some more back a minute ago, and I just can't like even remotely begin to fit it into my stash. There's just no way. So check that. If you were missing lots of insurance, and maybe it might be kind of catching up finally. The only other thing about I wanted to address this thing about audio, and a lot of chats
Okay.
about audio. Um, I don't think I talked about this last time, did I? Willer's Chief testing? I can't remember.
Yeah, a bit
Um, so there was like Willer's Chief tested the underground reserve
reserve.
audio
Hmm.
with headsets, came to the conclusion that headsets have no audio distance difference on them.
Hmm.
And that went quite widely around the internet. And so lots of people think the headsets are bugged. I get asked about it like every time I'm live, like at least sort of 5 times per hour. And Omni Actual did who did the original headset spreadsheet went and retested it and said, yeah, it's the same as when they did the test the first time. Fine, okay. It just seems like maybe a bit of like not even misinformation, but just like it was a test that was done in an unfortunate place, which was true for there. Ended up getting picked because no pest picked it up, and I think he picked it up out of that video, I think, and said the headsets are, have been changed. So he's not even wearing one or something. And because Pesty's like not running a headset and talking to people on stream saying he's not running a headset and headsets are pointless, that's like spreading like crazy.
Right.
And people are coming asking me, being like, my headset video from before the snow and is like getting tons of comments, people being like, has it changed? Has it changed? You need to do another video, all this stuff. And I'm like, I'm probably not going to, but I tried to explain it like in short to people. Anyway, I spoke to Omni, and he did redo it all.
Okay.
And said it was the same, but something different came through. A comment on his video retesting it led him to do another set of tests. And an assumption that we all have made, including myself, it makes this situation actually kind of weird. So I apologies to Omni because I actually just haven't had time to watch his video yet, because this kind of came on like I think it was like Saturday. I think it was Saturday or whatever. And I was like just busy doing loads of stuff and like been busy all weekend with the family, so I've just not had a chance to watch it. But like the long and the short of it is, go and watch the video. The long and the short of it is, it seems that there is an angle in front of you where the audio headset range matters, and outside of that, it's the same. So anybody in your front like quadrant or whatever, you hear them further with the contact fours than you do with nothing or with GSSH or whatever. But if they're behind you, then it seems to be shorter or not matter. Something along those lines. Go and watch the video. I haven't watched it, as I said. Yeah, but I wanted to mention it because so many people have been asking me about it. So it seems different depending on the angle. So like, I guess the implication for that is like, if you're following somebody and you've got the same headset on, in theory, you can track them more than they can hear you if they're coming up behind you. It's kind of weird. Anyway, I need to have a look at it properly. But I thought it was worth mentioning here just to get a bit more visibility on this thing. So yeah, I don't know. We'll see. Watch this space. I'll have a look at that and I'll have a think about it, and I'll probably have some more conclusions by the time we talk next time. But yeah, it's worth throwing that out there. Go and check out Omni Actual's video, the updated video about it. Go and see. Weird.
I'll have to have a look for myself. Yeah, so there's been lots of rumblings in the community, Tarkov Twitter space, especially with cheating, and then there's all stuff about profile checking, which is, probably won't get into today, but the one that I did want to mention was loot vacuuming seems to be back. But I don't know. I mean, I'm not really one to look into this type of stuff, but my like general understanding, I guess, like through the great like word of mouth, was that it's been some time ago they fixed the vacuuming exploit, whatever, that the cheaters were using, which now seems to be that there's a new exploit they found, or that maybe that wasn't true. Maybe BSG never fixed it. I don't know, but that's my story. I'm gonna stick with. Anywho, the thing that's notable is like you can check the console in the raid. I mean, Pestily did a video about this as well. I think it's like in the thumbnail. It's like he's leading with cheating, but you can see it gives you a bunch of errors whenever someone's doing this cheat/exploit, and it will show their username within the string of what the error is. And the one interesting thing about it that I saw from Reddit, someone had offered a possible explanation. This is from Aggravating Media 818. They said, so once in a while I browse around cheating forums when shit starts to get real bad in Tarkov to see what the asshats are up to and just stay informed. Also love reading "How did they ban me?" post. In basic term, what the people are doing is changing their own coordinates and items coordinates to NAN, aka not a number, which I assume bypasses the distance check in that is in place when it comes to old vacuum cheats, question mark. I don't know for certain. And then resetting their coordinates back to the original while instantly moving the items into their own bags, vests, etc. This is also why you see the infinite or NaN floating point error in the console when a cheater is in your raid. As I was reading through the posts, I saw this beautiful comment. But some maps don't work at all. Woods blows you up, and it's cut off from here, but the screen cap. He goes on to say, but why? Two possible theories. One, there's a scav body outside the playable area. So if you know, like the woods expansion near, oh god, it's like at the end of the road where the checkpoint's at, where the scav spawn, like going towards ZB 14. Is that what it is? But there's like a forklift there. Anyways, if you cut right, there's like a power line, and there's a dead scav kind of like past the like power pylon area, and there's like there's a sign that says like, you know, warning sniper, with like a little target on it. But anyways, you can loot the scav, but when you loot the scav, you get shot at by the out of bounds sniper. So that's one possible theory. He goes on to say the other is that the woods has some position checker with an else statement. If your position is XX, you're fine. If anything else, it might be interpreted as outside a map, you explode. Anyways, it's kind of an interesting pose. I thought that little bit was interesting and possibly insightful. I mean, I feel like they might be onto something, but regardless, yeah, I've seen videos of the vacuuming. It's pretty Hestilly killed someone who just like, it was like 3 minutes array, and they just had like ridiculously like gold skulls, intelligence folder, like insane stuff. Which is very GPUs. It's just very unfortunate. I hope it gets resolved and they patch that out soon, because yeah, it just kind of sucks playing raids where, you know, yeah, I mean, you probably never know, but it's just like, just the fact that it seems so rampant on social media just doesn't feel good.
This is the thing, like it seems very, very rampant, this cheat, because I've seen way more media of it.
Yeah.
And it has to be used a lot to get enough of these clips, because there's like clips of people searching safes, for example, and as the item becomes uncovered, it just goes disappears. There's one that Tiggs posted of Quattro Ace on labs, and he walks towards the LEDX on a desk and just it's gone, vaporized in front of their very eyes.
That's so
like
funny.
it's crazy. Yeah, like killing a, you know, I saw another death screen of like somebody who died, well, not a death screen, but you know, their inventory after they died, like killed this like vacuum person, and it was just, we were talking before about ES labs. It was just like, you know, like an attack 2 style bag just filled with like ES labs.
Yeah.
You know, and like one and like 2 GPUs, stuff like that. It's like, it's just crazy. So it does seem pretty rampant. I've seen more of this cheat than anything other I've ever heard of in the game. So someone's found some glitch exploit with the new system and just like rinsed it hard. But I mean, the only good thing about that is that it's going to get patched, right? At some point, it will be. Whether people will find then another way that's not quite so obvious, because it seems like, like you appear in the freaking console. I mean, come on, man. And then, you know, it's, people are just like making use of it while they can, I think.
Yeah,
it's like they know that they know that the time is limited on this bad boy, so you just got to rinse it.
It's very lucrative whether you're selling cheats or just using it to get ahead. Yeah, I mean, I saw one social media post. It was like a YouTube video where it was like someone in a Discord call and they were like streaming their cheats, and the person that was like commenting on it was just like mind blown, and he was like, "Bro, you paid $350 for this?" You know, so he's like, "Yeah," and he's like, "So you can see that guy?" And he's like, "Yeah," and then he just like opens up his inventory and loot starts appearing. He's just like, "Bro, why?" He's like freaking out. It's just funny.
Yeah. It does seem to be one that's like, yeah, just having a lot more visibility for whatever reason.
Yeah.
I think it's because you can actually see it, right? You can see it happen. You can see it on the people when like it's really obvious when they're there, when you kill them and you see their loot. It's like it's happening in the consoles. You know every raid when it's happening. Like it's just, yeah. So that's why it's causing so much outcry. Like people using ESP, it's very hard to tell. You just get aimbotted. It's like sometimes it's hard to tell. Depends, but like, yeah, vacuum loot is just whatever. It always reminds me of like the only other one that caused like such outcry, I think, was when there was that like, and I think it was quite niche. I don't think it was that widespread, but there was people being able to like take stuff out of people's actual like inventories,
Yeah, I
including
remember
their secure
that.
container. But this is like weird. This seems to be like way more widespread.
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
I don't
like I
know.
said, I imagine it's super lucrative because the money the swipe is insane. Plus, if you're like doing this as a business, I imagine it's very lucrative as well.
Yeah.
Early in the wipe
Yeah.
too. Like it just so happens that this comes out early in the wipe. I don't.
Exactly. So it just kind of sucks.
Yeah.
Hopefully they get it sorted.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm sure they will eventually.
Yeah.
Which they just banned. Like what was it?
11,000 or
Yeah.
something. Yeah.
Wait, was it 11,000 or was 1,100?
Was it? Oh god,
I
I
don't
thought it was
remember.
11,000.
11,000 is a lot. It
It's a
might be.
lot, but let's see. Escape from Tarkov Twitter. We have banned more than 11,000 cheaters in
Holy
Escape from
heck, that's a
Tarkov
lot.
from December the 27th to January the 12th.
That is a lot, dude. Because weren't they posting
Yeah.
like 700 previously? Like
They've
in the older
posted a decent
wipes?
number in the past, I think. I need to go and check and see what they've said. Oh, so searching Twitter is just impossible because like it deloads the posts when they're not on the screen. I don't know. I'm not sure. But anyway, it's a lot.
Yeah.
Big number. But there's a lot of people playing too. So.
Of course, yeah. And this is the most lucrative time, I would imagine, early white when people would want to be purchasing RMT or whatever have you, cheats, etc.
I guess so. Unfortunately, I guess so.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think that wraps the list. You got anything else to add, Giga?
No. I think that's it. Time being. Keep grinding.
Yeah.
Get to 42. Figure out the stuff. Figure out what quests have some other meta things in it, and then just keep making the vids. I had to take a bit of a breather because like I'm just so tired. But
Yeah, honestly saying I went really hard. We recorded this on Sunday and that it was like Friday. Yeah, I think I played like I think that was when I did setup. I don't remember, but I played like 8 hours straight and be it was like I think it was a combination of like dehydration because I didn't drink a lot of water, plus being snow blinded from Tarkov, dude.
they're being flashbanged for like 8 hours or
Yeah,
whatever.
dude. I really think it was like a combination too. I had like an insane headache. And I was like, Giga, I can't do this. I gotta reschedule.
It kind of worked out anyway because it sort of almost smoothed our schedule because we did the last one so soon and then we've done Sunday and then we'll go back to Friday. So like actually it's kind of okay.
That's a good point.
So maybe it ended up all right.
Yeah.
But yeah, trying to like fit it all in around the random stuff. I was just like, oh no. Then I got this thing and then I'm doing something yesterday and then like today I was just like out and then it's annoying. But we got it to work. Which is good. Yes, I'm going to go and actually get a good night's sleep for once, hopefully.
Good. You've earned it.
Kids forbidding, but it's only at 11, like 10 past 11 now, so I can just like try not to get too distracted and just like head straight to bed. I'm gonna like bare minimum like almost set like a 5-minute alarm and just be like, right, if you're not done by then, the computer just goes off.
Yeah.
I should actually set it in the command prompt. You can just ever since my program to like auto turn off my PC broke, I've just been using shutdown -S-F-T and then you put the time in seconds. And it just like
I don't know
just
that.
goes. You put it in just put it in the command prompt and it's like you can auto schedule the shutdown.
That's cool.
Like I'm amazed Windows doesn't have it inbuilt like that as a feature. It's like so annoying, you know. Like I can do it on some things, like in Handbrake, if I'm like transcoding and stuff, you can have it like auto shut down when it's finished and stuff like that. So that's fine. But like if I'm but like sometimes I have some other stuff going on. I can't remember like when I used it last. I used it for something else. Oh, I think I was cutting up a raid. Yeah, I think I was cutting up one of the like crazy 14-hour streams or something into like each individual raid, and I was like, "This is going to take an eternity." I was like, "Well, I'm just going to go to bed and I'll just let it do its thing." So yeah, that's about it. Keep the grind up.
Yeah.
Get pushed to 42, I guess now from 30, which is always the slog.
Yeah, I'm starting to really feel it. I'm like I said, I'm 32, and I'm about like 17k away from 33, or yeah, which gets me. What does that get me? Is that reg? No, therapist. I can't remember. Oh, Jaeger 4.
I'm 33. Yeah, Jaeger 4 because he's early, right?
Yeah. Oh. And yeah, I mean, yeah, it's just it really becomes a grind towards the end there. And now that it's like 45, and then there's like all these like various things scattered about late in different quest lines, like it's, yeah, I don't know. We'll see how far I go, but so far it's been pretty good.
Been a good run, right? It's
Yeah.
been a good run.
Yeah.
Still feels good. I was like, yeah, I actually ended up having because I had like something to do, so I had like a quick nap before that, and because I was just like actually just dead today. I was just so tired. I said to you beforehand, right? Like I went to bed late because I was doing stuff, and then the kids came in at like 5, and then they didn't go back to sleep again. So I was just like, oh no, I'm actually just screwed. So I did actually have a quick nap earlier, and I like genuinely was dreaming of playing Tarkov, like really weird. I don't normally
Oh,
dream about playing
no.
Tarkov. But I was just like, man, like I'm actually like more enthused this wipe than I've been on. Like, you know, I enjoy playing normally.
Yeah.
But like this wipe, I'm like, I will just want to play the game.
Yeah.
Like all the time.
I get that for sure.
I like desperately trying to like focus on just doing the videos and doing my thing because it's like, okay, this is the thing. This is what I'm supposed to be doing. I'm just like, I just want to stream. I just want to stream. I want to stream the game now, right now.
Oops.
Oh god, it's kind of almost bad. Like it's easier to focus on than stuff normally when I'm like in a regular mode, but like right now I'm just like actually addicted.
Well, I say you're doing a very good job. You could have fooled me.
I'm also very disciplined.
Yeah, your reputation exceeds you in that area. Precedes you. Yeah.
Yep.
All right, for real this time. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you all next week.
Bye bye.